Okay.
Boom, we're recording.
All right.
I think I gotta check the framing one more time, right? Because
Do it.
that was one of the things. So I've got the couch in the center, which I think is gonna be aesthetically pleasing. And then the top of the screen is pretty much the top of that painting. And then, it shows basically your foot's cut off currently, but just barely, just the underside of that couch is shown. So I think that's fine. If you and I are about symmetrically apart, then that's gonna be aesthetically pleasing. Which I think if we're kind of in this corner, it'll be perfect.
I'll sit up anyway, so let me see if I can bring my foot up though. Yeah.
I'm trying to show my dirty ass feet on camera.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I torqued that. Ooh.
Easy.
It's so sensitive.
Yeah, it seems almost like you sprained it or something.
Yeah, I bruised a little bit of the top, and what I felt was my calf was so tight. The chain ran from my calf to my Achilles, and it runs down into my pinky toe, to the top of my pinky toe.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel anything out there. Mine is like more the plantar
Arch?
fascia, of this big toe.
Big toe. Pinky toe, big toe.
Both. Yeah, we're kind of opposite.
Yeah.
Still feet
this
fucked
is
up.
not fun.
No, doesn't. I'm sure it's not.
A couple more days, I'll be good. Back to it.
Yeah.
I feel the sensation of being alive. Coming
Right.
back online. Yeah, dude, this shit sucks. I haven't injured myself in years. And to now go back to like, oh, I'm just getting the ball rolling with everything.
Yeah.
To be put into a position where I have to slow down, and what I've been doing is going as in as I can and like really getting clear on where I'm heading.
Okay.
So I think it's an opportunity just to slow down and actually get ultra clear, like you've gotten on where you're heading. So.
Yeah, it's been good for me. I mean, there's only so many hours in the day, so I kind of have to make it actually happen. And it's been like a process, right? Because I remember like 9 months ago, I told Quinn, hey, I'm kind of thinking about like a men's personal development group thing. Like I'm kind of nervous to even like say it out loud, to tell you the truth, is where it started. And she was really supportive of it, which is nice of her in the moment. But it started from there, where I was like, I don't even know what I'm gonna do or anything, but it just seems like something I should be doing.
Wait, how long ago was this?
Like 9 months.
Holy shit.
Yeah, 8 or 9 months. We were at the Springs. I could look up the picture we took that day, but we were at Wekiva Island, and it had been noodling around in my mind a little bit. Actually, a flight back from Texas from visiting my family, I just like dumped. That's what started that note I showed you. That's actually not the first one. There's another one that I just like was on the flight, dumping out all my entire journey. This was important, and then I did this, and I learned this, and like long paragraphs. And getting all that down was the start of me seeing like, these are the lessons I would teach someone to get to where I currently am. By no ways am I done, but I now know this much, and this is where I was. If you kind of open your mind to these things or do these sorts of things, it worked for me, so hopefully it could help somebody else. Yeah. And that was, about 8 or 9 months ago. It started with that, and then it's just continued to do whatever I thought I was supposed to do to keep moving forward, basically.
Here you are, brother.
Yeah, man. That December, I don't even know if you were following me at the time, but December I did a 30-day challenge of 60 seconds unedited every single day making a video and just post it, which was great because I wasn't on Instagram for like 5 years. So I came back on and was posting really cringy shit. As my back was really bad, I was just needed to kind of get back going and get some community, and some people were really showing up for me in ways that it was really nice, but I started from like square one is my point. And I recognized very quickly, I was like, I need to stop posting because I ended up archiving a lot of what I was doing because it was so embarrassing. Yeah, so
95% of what I posted is no longer there.
Yeah, it's bad. It's in the archive. I should probably just delete it, but it doesn't need to come back up. And then there's this challenge going around, the wellness challenge, Higher Up Wellness Challenge. And so it was like a public speaking thing. And so I committed to 30 days of, you post at least a 60-second video. You cannot edit it. Any like uhs and stutters and like I don't knows and whatever, like just roll with it. The point is you'll get more comfortable by the end of this. Some people take it for a whole year. Some people do 90 days, whatever. I said 30 days would be enough. And that was great because it forced me to be actually the guy holding my phone out in public, and talking and stuff, which I'd never done before. So that was like a anxiety and nervous thing. But I need that skill to be the guy I want to be, right? And I started picking up on how many times I was saying and like and so or like all these filler words and stuff. And so I started becoming more aware of it. Then I started being more cognizant of like trying not to do that. I got a lot more comfortable just posting stuff and not being so. Before 2025 or during 2025, all I posted was like 4 times for that year was my plan. Every quarter, here's a carousel of 20 photos, what I've been up to, and like a small little caption. That's it. A quarterly dump. All I was posting besides stories, but like nothing actual post, because to me they become more important or something, where I was like, I kind of want that to be like curated in a way. So that was the start of the journey, was just messily posting in December. And they're not good. 1 or 2 of them actually got like a little bit of traction, like 1,500 or 2,000 views, which was bigger than the 200 or 300 I was normally getting. And got some, it went a little bit out of my followers and into other people leaving comments, which was like cool, because what I ended up posting about was the stuff, these lessons or whatever. I was going deep every time, because I naturally am that way, I suppose. So maybe I was trying too hard, or maybe it was the ego or something, but at least I got that cringe phase started. It got me moving. I took the action instead of talking about like, one day I'd like to have a personal brand. I think it's really important. I was like, well, then let's actually post and do it. So from that to then these last 3 months, January, February, and now we're in March, you can see kind of with my YouTube videos, I started the channel and started making videos. The first one's worse than the second one's worse than the third one. So I was like intentionally getting better there. And I've only done 3 or 4, but I got to a point where I was like, okay, now I need to know the next skill, which has been this business and sales stuff and building out that framework. So it's very intentionally moving, building up towards where you can now see where I'm going. So it all kind of started with just 9 months ago, having an idea of like, if I could help other people, what would I want to tell them? All this just came out. I was like, damn, this. I was like, and then this thing, and like just naturally, it was just like pouring out of my mind into my phone. I was like, whoa, what just happened? Like there's something here. Yeah. Like clearly, I'm very fired up about this, and have been really paying attention. And throughout that process, I have been journaling. I don't have the book in. Oh yeah, it's on top of there, but there's some like multi-page filled journaling updates as I was going through the events that were shaping me into this version of me. And so it's kind of cool. I can go back there and use that as like, in that moment, this is exactly what I was thinking or feeling. And so I can relate to that as other people are going through that, I think. So it's kind of cool to have that back there.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. That's all about me.
No, I love it, dude. It's important. It's important to know about where you came from, how you got to where you're at now.
Yeah, it's been fun. I've never actually paid attention to seasons or months like that. Like life just happened to me, right? 100%. The control I had was like, okay, I'm going to focus on building a drift car for a while. But it wasn't like, as much as we don't like timelines, sometimes having a timeline and an idea of like a goal in mind of like, by this date, it'd be cool if this was done. It was more so just kind of flying by the seat of my pants. As I learned something, that instinct would take over, that addiction almost of like, I can make the car better. So I'm tearing it back apart. And I'm like, there's an event coming at the end of the month. I have to get the car back together to make that event. So I'm rushing. I'm working all my money. I'm going into debt for it. I'm doing it. Car barely gets back together in time. I go to the event. Car drives like shit. I'm like, now it needs this. And so we do it again. And then I'm like, man, the car is like, oh, it always feels different. I don't know. I'm not really progressing as a driver. I'm not sure what's going on. It's because I was like self-sabotaging essentially by just overloading myself with constantly fixing something or upgrading something that was probably fine. It was kind of fun in the process, but like what I really wanted, I started a YouTube channel and was hoping that I could get sponsors and really go down making that my lifestyle or my job essentially, because I really enjoy it, but I was going about it completely wrong. Instead of trying to be good on camera and getting sponsors and reaching out and figuring out what value I could provide to those companies and stuff, I was just like, I just want to work on the car, and that's what's fun. And then driving is cool too. And then now I just do it differently. I think it's all little steps and baby steps. And for where I was at the time, just doing it myself, not as supported by AI or the internet or thinking about it that way, and not having other friends that were doing it and stuff. That's just where I was at. And so I have grace for myself there. But I look back at that stuff now, and I'm just like, yeah, we're gonna do it better this time.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you put to practice everything you didn't. You made different choices.
Mm-hmm. Very intentionally this time. Yeah. I think it's partially growing up too.
Oh, for sure.
But also, I think having the visualization in my mind of like who I want to be now steers me.
Who is that? Because I've heard you say it like a handful of times today, but I don't have a clear understanding. If you want to share that.
You bastard.
That's why I'm here. If you don't want to share, don't share it.
This is supposed to be about you. We've done nothing but talk about me, though.
Sometimes if the script flips, my friend.
No,
I'm getting my rips in now.
Yeah.
Who knows? One day I might be a host.
Yeah.
We'll see.
No, it's exactly what a host would do, isn't it?
Oh, you thought this was your show?
Damn.
Oh,
Yeah, no, it's a great question because it's almost part of the elevator pitch, I think, right? Is to say, I came from this, I did this, this is where I'm going. So for me, the more specific you are with the visualization of like what the end goal is, the more detail you have, the more you know where you're going and what you need to do to get there. So in my mind, I see myself as a couple abstract objectives are in my reality. So being a keynote speaker, I think I see myself on stage presenting something. I think it's going to be something related to the Unlocked Man credential, program or the fundamentals of that, because that'll be in my wheelhouse. So it's going to be, people are going to want to listen to me about that. I'm not going to tell you jokes because I'm not a comedian, but if what I'm good at, I'll be able to present that professionally. I don't want to be fumbling my words and not have the message land. So then now that tells me I need to work on my speech abilities. It's the class I'm in. I need to get on the stage more and start getting in front of people to get comfortable with that. So that now guides me of like, you have actions that get you there. Mm-hmm. So that's part of it. I've always, since a child, wanted like a nice defined physique. And I didn't want to be like a big bodybuilder type. I just wanted to be like fit. Like visibly, you're just like, that guy's got muscles, he looks strong, and
this guy takes care of himself.
Exactly. And so I did some of that this last year, but then I fall off of it, or my back is still kind of bothering me there. So then it's like, okay, before I can have the aesthetic of the outside, I clearly need to work on the core of the back and core, let's say, and figure out the base problem, which once again is another metaphor for the Unlocked Man and how I'm different from the other kind of programs. So I see myself on stage looking fit, presenting well, being professional, and then what's really important to me as well is having like a really supportive friends group that pushes me, and I also feed back into. It's a mutual kind of where it's people that genuinely want the best for everyone that's in this group or within their close network. And I know that to be that version that people want to bring that side of or feed into me, I have to then be able to feed into other people and have the communication skills, be able to be vulnerable and real and honest, because I've lived in a way when I'm not that way, and I can see that becomes a blocker to where if I can't be genuine and authentic, then people aren't going to open up to me. It has to go a two-way street. So that's forced me to kind of learn that way and then see how I can show up for friends, sort of thing. And it's also really fulfilling. You want to belong. Every person at our core, we want to be in our little tribe or whatever. We want to have our group so we don't feel so alone. So that's important to me. And part of the equation, finding a life partner, is also part of it, where I'm going to be in good shape. I'm going to speak really well. I'm going to be a provider. I want to be great for my children. So learning, communication and patience with children. And that's, I want to raise some really great kids. I'll be very proud of being like, that's my boy. You know what I mean? That grows or shows me a way that I need to be. But then also in the relationship, having the communication and the compromise and thinking about that person. So like all of this is starting to build like the skills I need to have, or the way of being I need to be, to bring that. And then now lately there's been like the business building, business owner, entrepreneur side of understanding the boring stuff from taxes to a base level, understanding content to get my name out there, understanding the LLC structure, the sales training, the way the feeling like I can actually charge these numbers and not laugh myself out of the room or feel ashamed of asking that much money, like having belief and ability and proof that I am really meant to be going down this path. But I do see that grows into like, this is what I'm destined to do, is actually really impact people and help them from a similar journey that I've had that was painful and I went on my own. If I can help other people, kind of like your fascia maneuvers, you said, like, if I can help other people get to where I'm at way faster, that's what I want to do. It's the same thing for me. It's just on a like more introspective level, I would say, that comes out into the real world. So that is like, I think, my real core and mission, which ties back to my dad. He wasn't an unlocked man, let's say, and so he, inside of him, was hilarious. Very caring, very loving, really wanted to be accepted and stuff. He was very dependable, hardworking guy, but based on his childhood, based on his experiences he had in life, I think he closed himself in. He closed the door to the world and only let out so much of himself. He didn't have the support system of the friends. He didn't have the knowledge that he could have gained from somebody like me to say, hey, this is how you really get that self-love and that self-protection and ability to do that self-awareness even, to then show these other sides and be vulnerable and stuff. And so I modeled after that. So because he didn't get to do his work, he didn't have this experience, it wore onto everyone around him through his relationship with my mom, through other family members. We're only so close that way, through his children, because kids just model their parents. So that shows how impactful one person making a change can just boom. This whole little ecosystem is now affected by it. So if I can be the guy who's like, hey, Dad, if I could talk to my dad at 35 years old and say, there are people on the other side of who you become who are waiting with arms open, wide open. And I know it's scary to move right now, and you don't want to shake up what you're currently in. But what you're currently in is kind of like surface level, and you're kind of holding you back from who you really are, and you're missing out on the beautiful things of humanity because of it. And it's safe, and I understand why you're here, but if you go through this hard time and do this work, and it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be well worth it, trust me. Here's how to kind of do it and have someone to hold and guide them through it. Then I know the world will be a better place, basically, if we have that sort of impact in the world. So that's what really drives me at my core, is seeing what my dad missed out on and not wanting other people to experience that. Because I had to start very similar, raised up in his house, and teach myself the whole thing. And so, yeah, it drives me pretty deeply. So all that, it's not exactly like I visualize it perfectly. It's kind of a combination of all of those things comes together to say, like, that's the kind of person I'm going to be. And my friends group, like, if you see my bedroom, I have some real studs in the world. There's Cody Sanchez, who's a big business kind of person and has made it. So she's multi-million a year she's making. And there's Ben Patrick, the knees over toes guy, a very healthy, very fit person. And then there's Sahil Bloom, the author of the 5 Types of Wealth. Totally radically changed how I see the world and what I value in the world. Those are who I want to be my boys. That's where I think I belong, is with people that operate at that caliber and that level. So I'm not fit for that yet. If they were in this room right now, we're not on the same level. They're not going to respect me and see me in that same way. I kind of have to go through this own entrepreneur journey and prove myself and say, look what I did, and look what I've become in that process. And then now, those people will be like the people that I'm like, let's go vacation. Like, these are the people that I think I really fit with. And it requires a totally different version of myself that if I just visualize, like, who are their friends like, what I think they're like, at least. I don't know who their friends are really like. But it pushes me towards that sort of path.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
No, thanks for sharing that. There's a lot of parallels in how you're explaining your upbringing, what you see within your father, and the type of person you want to be. I relate to a lot of it, and it's by taking the actions necessary to develop into that type of person. And you're right, you want to be in the same room as the people that you admire to a certain extent, or see certain qualities that you want to embody.
Yeah.
And you're doing everything, man.
Thanks, man.
I've only known you for a couple months, and like I just see you scaling and doing the things you need to do, which is inspiring me to do the same thing, because I desire to be a certain version of myself.
Right.
However, I've been falling short of meeting the criteria that it takes to meet that version of myself.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, man. I appreciate it.
No,
I need more of that.
Thank you for saying that, because then it just inspires me even more to continue down the path, because I'm not doing it for other people. But you've told me that it inspires you and changes who you're becoming. Other friends have said the same thing. And they aren't even, it's like I'm having interactions with every single one of them differently, but I'm just staying true to myself. And so it's reinforcing to me of like, well, I must just be this way. And I just must be the kind of person that people, get that good energy from. And I love hearing that, because that's what my whole business is built around, is like me as the role model, me guiding you sort of thing. If you weren't inspired by me, then I'm doing something wrong.
For me, it's inspirational, but where it hits me the most is I'm actually seeing you grow, and I'm seeing you apply it in real time. So I'm not listening to someone's story for the umpteenth time, like, this is where I was, and this is where I am now. I'm seeing in real time the effect that you're having on yourself by applying what you know and taking from your past, and slowly making the steps that need to be taken to achieve to be who you are.
Yeah.
And that I appreciate the most. Everything else, bro, is a bonus. But that's me coming from the lens of doing the inner work and not taking action because, of the length of time it's going to take, the actual amount of energy I got to put into it. It's like standing at the base of a mountain and looking at the top and being like, that's going to fucking take a lot of work. I'll just wait till tomorrow.
Yep.
That whole thing. So you're inspiring me in real time by doing the thing, and I'm seeing your journey.
Yeah.
And I think that's like invaluable.
Man, this makes me, I should be posting more often then, because I've been told that we relate less to the guru and more to the
Student.
Yeah, the person going through the journey, because you're like, oh, this guy's just like me. And look, he's doing it. And you can see my sacrifice, like I work a full-time job and I come home and then I really start to work, and that's what it takes. Consistently doing that, finding out what do I need to be better to get to this dream future self of my own creation. I need to learn this. I need to learn this. Okay, let me buy that course. Let me actually start implementing that. Okay, I took the course, I watched it. How am I going to implement it? Because if I just read a book or watch the video and don't actually use it, then that was a waste of time. I was just I was entertaining myself. So that was a lesson in itself. Is like, I've read a bunch of books I did nothing with. That's cool. I can tell you some things from it, but do I use it? Not really. Realizing like, okay, I'm going to stop reading things just to look busy. I'm going to start reading them to say, this is who I'm becoming. This is now part of me. Was a big shift. And it took actually me and an accountability buddy of mine, Cody, we had recognized we were both in that pattern where we were reading things like Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. I'm not at a point in my business where I need to do that. He is. And so his example was, I am doing too many of the things that I could be hiring out to a VA, and it's swamping me. I read the book, Buy Back Your Time. It goes exactly over, I haven't read the book yet, so I can't say for sure, but I think it goes exactly over how to set things up to where you buy your time back, right? It's in the title. And it would free him up to then do the higher level stuff so the business continues to grow, and then free up to do the higher level stuff, and it's a pattern. And he's like, yeah, I read the book, I did nothing with it. I recognize, I was like, I'm rereading this book now. I wasted my time the first time. How many times do I have to reread the same book before I finally get the lesson is like, use this stuff?
Yeah.
So that's where we're at with that. And that's how I look at everything I'm doing now. And so I'm very intentional, like at this current moment, this version of who I am this month needs this. Later I will need this and this and this. That's great. Maybe I can set up some steps. Maybe I buy that book and I just hold on to it. But now isn't the time for it. It's out of order. But I have it or what have you. Right now, this is what I need to focus on, because if I get 80% of this figured out, I don't need 100%. I just need enough to then say, now I'm most efficient in this next thing. Jump onto that thing, now I'm most efficient in this thing. And then that's, I think, what entrepreneurship is. That's definitely what personal growth is. And so it's a principle that just carries over. And the difference all comes back to doing it. Doing the work. Don't just read about it. Don't just entertain yourself.
So it's, what did they say? Wisdom is knowledge applied. It's experiential.
Yeah.
Right?
It's very well said, yeah.
And you're prioritizing everything that needs to be done. You're actually working ahead. You're creating the path. You're like clearing the land and setting these mile markers, so to speak. So when you get there, you're already set up for success. You have this in line. You're here, but you're set up steps ahead. So when you get there, it's already there for you. And I think that's super important too.
Yeah. It's a bit stressful. I overload myself. I'm very good at that. I spread myself too thin. So then that's one of the ways that personal growth and entrepreneurship will force you to learn and grow is I only have so many hours in the day once again. I have 5 different big projects happening at the same time. I can split myself into 20% of myself for all of those. Or I can go down to 1 and 100% dive into that thing. I'm going to master it a lot faster if I do that. All these are going to be shittily learned if I keep them all spread into 20% of me versus like 80 to 100% of me is like really into learning how to speak better. And I can move through it faster. I can truly integrate that and make that part of who I am so I don't have to go read the book again because I dove and gave in 100% of what I had until I was like, cool, got it. Now the next thing. And so that's been a lesson in itself recently is it's so hard to say no to shiny objects. And that's why I showed you these trainings I have, shiny objects. Like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, I need to learn this. Let me buy this course while it's on sale. But to be real with myself, I've seen this pattern, I overload myself, and then I'm like trying to juggle all these balls. I'm gonna buy this knowing I'm not gonna touch this for months. but I'm going to save myself money because it's on the Black Friday sale. Cool, I have lifetime access. Great, this is actually a smart move. Do not put any pressure on yourself to open this thing at all. Like I showed you one of these, like I haven't looked at this one at all.
Yeah.
Intentionally. It's there waiting for me when I'm ready. I'm not ready. I have other things I have to get through that are the higher priority.
So I would say that's intentional shiny object syndrome.
You think?
It's how you frame it, right? I mean, if you're doing it to distract yourself, that's one thing. If you're spreading yourself thin,
Yeah.
like for instance, your drift car, and you have a motorcycle, and you have your truck, and you have your expedition, right? These are all things that you have. You could be splitting up your time like, oh, I'm gonna go ride my bike. I'm gonna go work on my drifting car. I want to fix up my truck.
Yeah.
However, you have those things, but you've learned from experience already that this is what I need to focus on.
Yeah.
So I say intentional shiny object syndrome because you had an intention behind it. It's on a Black Friday sale. It's going to save me money. I'm looking at this price. I know it's going to go up because they're saying it's going to go up. So I now have this set in place for when I get to that mile marker, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, and that's a success story, right?
Yeah.
There's been hours, what I didn't say, of me working through what my dream drift car build is with this Corvette that's in the garage, and really looking at the bank account going like, I mean, I've got it. I could go, this is the dream list. This one costs too much money, this build sheet. This would be badass, but okay, let's research some more. I would get this brand coilovers. Let me look at reviews and make sure. Yep, these are the ones, but maybe this one's gonna go on sale. I might consider that one. And so now I've gone this whole other rabbit hole. Like this angle kit, well, what about this one? Let me research them. And literally, I went step by step of how I build that car, researching the entire gambit of what I just explained for every single part. Come up with a dream build list that was pretty realistic and attainable. And then all that, I go, what am I doing? I technically have money for this. Could I use this money for other more important things that would gain me more money and build a business that I really believe in and think is where I'm supposed to go? Yes. Do I have time to drive this car right now? Do I have time to build this car right now? Do I have the energy to do any of that? Absolutely not. Would I like to? Sure. But right now is not the time. But I also have just spent 10 hours of my life, now a sunk cost fallacy into, I've built this thing out 3 different times. And I'm sure this is the way I want to do it. This is gonna be so awesome. I can't wait until I'm on the road in this car or I'm at the track driving it, and it's gonna be amazing. It's what I've always wanted. But it's not what I really need to be focusing on right now. So even though I have started this thing, which is so hard for me, once I start something, I wanna see it through. Even though I've started it, I've got the plan 3 different times, I have to tell myself no. And then there's still that pattern every now and then, because what I really need to be working on is difficult, or I'm not sure where to go with it. I go, hey, this thing's already figured out, and I like closing loops. This thing's ready for me to start closing. Let me just buy one more car part, And then it's always tempting, where it's a fight in your mind of stop. We're focusing on this. That can come later when I have more time, when I have more money, when I can pay someone to build the thing because my time is more valuable over here. So this can still come. It's just delayed gratification that at some point I can have that drift car. And guess what? It's not going to be the budget build. It's going to be the dream build, and it's going to be way more affordable and way more fun. I can devote my time instead of being spread in all these different 20% Davids. I can focus that in on for a while, if it makes sense to. And so that's where, I'm not being super efficient because I've built the same build, not the same, but I've built that list 3 different times and shouldn't have. And I know it during the process. I'm like, this is not what I should be working on. This is stupid. Yes, I really want this, but like now's not the time. But there's that addiction, there's that craving that's like, I miss those days when I was driving. That was really fun. And I always wanted a Corvette that was a drift car, and I have the Vet, and I bought it intentionally. The license plate says drift it. Like, feel like a fraud if I don't, I gave myself instructions through the license plate, drift it, is how I think of it, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, and ultimately I realized it was like, now it's, we were talking earlier, I no longer struggle with like the ice cream aisle, even though I used to eat a lot of ice cream. By avoiding it, it finally became easy where I'm like, I don't even want the ice cream. It's the same thing with the car. I avoided it long enough where I'm like, you know what, that thing is an impediment to what I really want. It's a distraction. I know it can get there when the time is right. The time is not right now. Stop thinking about it. Stop wasting the energy on it. Stop putting the time towards it. Stop talking about it even, because it's not serving you. It's not what you need. And it took a while of failed attempts to get to that point. And ultimately, after all that shopping list, what's so funny? It's a complete waste of time. I'm just gonna sell that car and buy one that already has all that done. Complete waste of time. in so many ways.
Well, these are distractions and aversions to what is truly meant to be grown, meant to be put time into.
It was a lesson.
Yeah.
And for that, I'm thankful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want to put you, could you say you would have probably not been on the path of where you're at now, growing what you're growing, if you didn't realize that? Or have that level of awareness?
I am very thankful for my awareness, yeah, because I wasn't aware for the majority of my life. And things urges would come to me, and I knew it was attainable, I knew I could do it, so I would do it. I wouldn't have a long-term plan, or maybe I did, but it was like not well documented how to get there. So I would just do the easy thing in the moment. And back to the getting ready for the events, it's like, oh, well, I could change the whole subframe bushings before the next event. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, I'll get that dopamine hit of like, I completed something. I closed the loop. The car is better now, and that's gonna feed into my bigger goal of like, this is gonna be my career. I need a cool car that can get me there or whatever. And so I can logic my way into it, and then recognize like you just spent so much time, money, and energy on something that is ultimately going nowhere.
Yeah.
It's not going the direction of what you wanted because you didn't have the long-term plan and then break it down into reverse engineer it, as they call it, into smaller stages or points of like accomplishment to say like this is where we need to go to then get to this and then that'll get to that and then we did it. Instead I was like, oh, I'm gonna be an awesome car driver, yeah. Someday. I'll just keep like, I don't know, driving and working on cars until then, and going in credit card debt for it. Yeah. So that was the lesson there, was like, I've already tried that thing where I had a big lofty goal, kind of did it, but kind of really didn't. And guess what? I didn't stick with it. I didn't take it seriously. And that's who I was at that version of my life. I've done this pattern. I've recognized now that I need the consistency, I need the foresight and the planning, and to be able to pivot along the way, but to then break it down into smaller goals. And that I learned actually from a mastermind I joined called Better Life that gave me a book. It's on the table, but it was, what's your 5-year goal? Which is hard to define, and I took a lot of time on that. I took that quite seriously because that sets your whole path. And it was really hard to actually define 3 goals in 5 years what I want to achieve. Once I kind of did, it breaks it down to what do you need to do by this year to achieve that 5-year goal? Cool, we're reverse engineering, right? You're starting to see the pattern. To get to the end of this year that this goal is done, what needs to happen each quarter? Okay, cool, now we have a roadmap. Okay, to make this quarter's goal happen, what needs to happen this week? Where do we start? How many things you need to, and then from there on, once you have all that defined, you have a weekly checklist, essentially. You give yourself the goals of, for me, it was like, there's 3 main topics, was fixing my back. At the time, it was like real estate investing, learning about it, and then raising capital, and then finding the property, and then buying it, and then running it. Like, that was clearly the path. Fixing my back, staying consistent with working, educating myself about it, doing the workouts, getting into building physique. And then the third one, honestly forget about. But essentially, it would tell me what I needed to do each week and how many times a week I needed to do it, and every single day you check in and say if you did it or not. And at the end of the week, you would tally up your score of like what I said I was gonna do was 5 times this week this, and 4 times this, and 3 times that, versus what I actually did was less. I got an 80% on this week. Well, it's not too bad. Obviously, I think I can do better because I'm trying to set realistic goals. But if I got like a 30%, it's like, what happened, dude? Like, we need to reassess. And so having a touch point of like real quantifiable, it's tracking, it's pushing, it shows you what I really need, I found out, is just tell me what to do. I don't want to come home and be like, now what?
Yeah.
I want to go right into it. And so biggest thing I learned from that was long foresight out. 5 years I think is honestly too long because you can do so much in 5 years. It's crazy. So then start with the 1 year. Be really intentional and really think about, is this really what I want to spend a whole year with? And I took like a month to actually really think things through. I'd like smoke weed and just like get in that mindset and just like think about it. Is that really what I want? And then I'd take a few days and maybe I'd dabble in a little bit and be like, oh, this is pretty cool, but maybe this other thing. And I go check that out, and then smoke some more weed and be like, yeah, I think I got it. Okay, yeah, let's go with this. And so like I really was very intentional and took my time with it to make sure that I didn't fall back into the shiny objects of me focusing in on the wrong things, because that's what unlocked me to now know for certain that the unlocked man is what I want to work on. Was I took the time to find like, who am I as my person in my core? And that took a few years of me becoming myself, right? And then what is really important? What do I really enjoy about this life and about the skills I've been given? It led me towards helping people. And that's very broad, but that's a nice start, okay? Like, cool, I want to be beneficial to society and other people. How can I help them? I don't know, but I want to help. Okay, what am I good at? You know, and then you kind of reverse engineer and figure out like, well, I'm really interested in psychology, and I've had my own growth recently that I'm very passionate about, and I think I could teach people with. Maybe there's something there. But then it's like imposter syndrome. Like, who the fuck am I? You know, I'm still figuring it out. Like, who was I a year ago? A totally different version of myself that knew nothing about this. Who am I to teach people? So then all of that starts to run through your head. And it's like I told you before, like the first time I finally told somebody out loud that I was like, I think I'm gonna do like a men's personal development group. It was like, I was like whispering, I was like, you know, don't tell anybody, I'm really not sure. It was like a secret of mine. It's like, I don't wanna be like, I don't wanna fail about this. So like, I'm kinda maybe gonna do this men's personal development kind of growth thing. I don't know. And then they were like really excited about it, like, I think that's awesome, you know, and that was a great feedback for me. And it broke the mental limiting belief of like, once I tell somebody it, now there's like part of me that wants to follow through with it. And I don't want to be like proven wrong, or there's power to that psychologically, that once you put it out there, it's like you kind of want that to be who you are or whatever. You want to make it true. So that was the start. And then now I'm going to get to the point, I'm getting there where like I just tell everybody about this. You know, I just had lunch with my family and I don't see them too often. And I wouldn't always tell them what I was really getting into. I would just keep my cards close to my chest, sort of thing. And first thing I did, they were like, how's life, whatever. And I'm like, well, I'm building this business, you know, and, you know, they were very supportive, which was really nice. And I'm glad to see that version of myself that's able to just put this out everywhere. And then it's nice to hear everyone's feedback, at least so far, has been very positive, which is really nice. And, you know, they see a lot of the potential that I also see in myself. They're kind of reinforcing that. I'm like, all right, cool, I probably am on the right path. But it all came back to, even if you don't think I'm good at it, I don't care. Because I have done the internal work to say, I'm going for this. I think this is really what I'm for, and no, I'm not gonna be good at it in the beginning. No way, no shot. I'll do my best, but it's gonna be a journey. I'm gonna learn along the way, and I will integrate, I will get better, put in the reps, I'll learn from my mistakes, because that's just who I am. That's the track record I have of how I live my life. And as long as at the core I'm doing it for a good reason, then I will believe in it and push through it, and I think I can really do this thing. So I'm gonna give it a solid try. And because I'm so resolute in my reasoning and my why, you know, if we pull it back to, you know, the dad story, I don't want other people to miss out on what I know I can help them with. That there's a Russell Brunson quote that, I mean, it's great sales on his end because he wants to help you with your business, but it's also very true. If you have a gift to give to the world and you don't, then you're like robbing the world of it, you know, which puts a lot of onus on you. You're like, shit, he's right. Like I think God gave me these gifts, you know, like I've got this ability and this gift I can give to the world. And it's kind of messed up for me not to pursue it and at least see if I can really if I only change a handful of people's lives, then like maybe that's worth it. I may have grandiose ideas, and if that never happens, if I still really impacted some people in some really deep ways, then like that's a win, you know? So it feels like what I'm supposed to do, and that's what drives me so well. And I think that that's what is needed, because so many other times I thought I was gonna be the drift driver. I thought I was gonna be the BMX pro. I thought I was gonna be the skateboarding pro. I thought I was gonna be the running pro. Like throughout my life, I've had these hobbies and I'm like, this is it, this is my personality, it's my life. I'm going all in on it. I'm gonna be a surfer, whatever it is. And I never stuck with it because I never had the same layout and understanding of what it takes and belief in myself to actually do it. And so it's partially growing up, it's partially finding the right, like that mastermind was huge for me. And then getting around other people that we check in with each other, and you know, they have their own goals and I hold them accountable. I'm like, what do you need to do this week? And every week we call. Next week when we have the call, we check in. Did you do what you said you were gonna do? You did, awesome. What's next week? Or hey, you didn't, what happened? You know, oh, do we need to pivot because it was too much you did, or was it the wrong thing, or is it just because you slacked off and you know you did and you need to get back into it? You know, and have someone that's like, dude, what are you doing?
That's good.
It's so powerful. Because one of the things I learned from my challenges last year, in the physical challenges I did, a 60-day, first one I ever did, I jumped into 60. I was like, 30's for bitches, let's go 60.
60 what is this, 60?
60 days of every single day doing 10 minutes of knee raises. So 30 seconds on, you know, where like you're hanging from a bar and you're raising your knees up, so it's like an ab workout, and then you take a 30-second break, and then 30 more seconds. So 5 basically sets of 30 seconds of doing knee crunches, or knee raises, or ab crunches essentially, if you didn't have the bar, every single day. And I got about 10 guys to do it with me. as my first challenge. And that was awesome. It was a great experience for me. I could see I was making an impact in their life. I also learned a lot of ways I could show up better. But one of the biggest takeaways from that universally every guy said was the fact, because every day we'd do a check-in post, and that was critical. Because if you're just in the garage or at the gym, in the dark, silently doing it, you don't tell anybody, you don't have anybody holding you accountable, nobody knows, and like you don't care. You're just like, oh yeah, I can just say I did it. But we were like posting a video of like, this is proof I did it. You know what I mean? So for every single day for 60 days, we were checking in, giving a check mark, or showing the video of that I did it. And every guy was like, because I didn't want to let you guys down, I showed up for myself. And what was really cool is like, I was the glue holding all this group together. They all just knew me. They weren't necessarily all friends with each other. So it doesn't even need to be like a close friends group that you want to like not let down. It's just, you just need people to say, hey, they're suffering just like I'm supposed to be, so I will. And that's a huge takeaway. Once I found that out, I was like, oh man, there's really power. Every guy said that. The fact that I'm in this community and I don't want to let you guys down, I show up for myself in ways that I don't normally show up for myself. I would rather show up for somebody else. I'm the first guy to give my shirt off the back to anybody else, but for me, I'll let it slip, I don't let it slide, I don't care. But when I don't want to let you guys down, I actually did the work. And I'm like, wow, okay, that's important.
Powerful.
Very. Yeah. And then you get like the community aspect from that, and I think that in today's world that's really important to find people that want to get out of their comfort zone. It's kind of tricky. We've been given a really easy life in so many different ways that you can lean into that, and then you see health problems that come out of it. You settle into whatever job you get, and you aren't really truly living to your potential, I think. I think we're designed to get out of our comfort zone, to do hard things, just innately. And we've been given this opportunity where we live the easiest we ever have, to where we're making up problems in society. So I think that having something to work after is instrumental and key, and to make that easier and make that stick is finding the community of other people that are doing that same thing. And so that's where I am figuring out a lot of what I'm learning is how humans work. And then taking all of my experience and everything I'm learning and then other people's experience, all this comes together to say, this is how to do it. Using the psychology, using the track record that's worked for other people, hearing their feedback, making the tweaks. If you want to change who you are at your core, you can do it alone. I did it, other people certainly have, other people have figured this stuff out. But it's going to be a lot easier if you jump on board with what I've got going on here, because I will show you what you need to do, and you can avoid the stuff you don't need to do. I can keep you accountable so you actually do it, instead of you saying, yeah, I'm kind of doing it, and then a week later you fall out of it. Mm-hmm. You know, if you really want the success, you have to systemize it. And that's one of my superpowers, is creating systems and processes and seeing things through, and then having the foresight, the long-term plan, and then saying, okay, we need this because in the future we're going to need that. And then stepping into leadership in a way I never had before, especially in front of other guys. It's like, okay, that's scary because you're putting yourself out there and maybe someone else is more of a tactician than you are, or you make a fool of yourself, or you make the wrong decision. So it's putting in reps, it's getting comfortable with that, it's learning when you do mess up, because every leader from military to business, they will all say you will mess up. Mm-hmm. That is part of the process. The thing is, you learn from him as best you can and continue on. And you just get better, and ideally, you get a little bit better, but you will always mess up. You will always make the wrong call. But you can't be afraid of that, because that creates inaction, and you can't survive with that. So it's all just little baby steps that compound on themselves. That's my long spiel.
Yeah, dude. Well, it was definitely insightful. There's a lot there. So much came through my mind, but what I'm curious of is this systematic aspect of who you are and being able to pattern recognize. Did that come later, or was that something always innate within you that you've had? Did you discover that as of recent, let's say within the last 5-6 years, or was it something that's always been a part of you that you've applied to throughout life?
Yeah, no, that's a really, really good question. I have always had it, and I just wouldn't utilize it consistently. But I can remember being young and recognizing things about myself, and I'm very detail-oriented. So I could notice patterns pretty quickly. I pay attention quite well, and I learn things quickly. So I've had that ability, but I didn't know how to utilize it to the best ability, I would say, to get the same output and results. And partially that's because limiting beliefs, or partially just the community and the environment I grew up in that didn't optimize for that. But along my own journey, you can't use that excuse forever. You have to take your own ownership. And so I started going from being ignorant to things to now, once you know it, you're now not doing it, you're choosing to not do it. You're not ignorant, you can't use that excuse. So it changed where I put the ownership and I took the responsibility. And I was like, okay, it's up to me. No one's coming to save me. No one's going to hold my hand and do it. I have to do it.
So discipline, dedication, devotion.
Yeah. After you recognize what needs to change, to actually do it, you have to really own it and put it into place. Yeah, and have the discipline. At the time I was listening to a lot of Jocko or David Goggins or these
That'll get you going.
These psychos, yeah. They're like, yeah, you're not doing enough, do more, Ed Milet, a lot of these guys that it's what I needed, because my day-to-day people that were in my sphere of influence, they weren't living that way. They hadn't, it's amazing we have access to actual outliers and the top of the cream of the crop, whatever, and that they have access to us through their books or these podcasts they're doing and things like that. That otherwise, historically, we didn't have access to these sorts of people. You had no idea, how's that guy doing all that? It seems like he just outputs so much work. What's going on? He must be just built different. And if you don't understand, it's the same thing with when we broke the 4-minute barrier in the mile. Nobody thought it was possible, so nobody did it. And then once one person finally did it, everyone started doing it. But it takes seeing that person do it, and then you're like, oh, it's possible. How do I do it? And then by seeing their example and then recreating whatever they did, or just even knowing it's possible, is sometimes all it takes. And so just getting around those sorts of guys was what I needed at the time to start building the discipline, or having the belief, or understanding. It's so powerful once you understand you're not alone. Even those top level guys will admit, I don't want to put those fucking shoes on and go do the run. I stared at the motherfuckers for 30 minutes is I think one of the Goggins quotes. So even at his level, some guy who's he's the GOAT at doing all this work is still struggling with it just like I am. So it's not a matter of he's built different. He's just like me. He just handles it differently. I think he is built different because he takes it so fucking far. But it was nice to feel included in something and recognize that they're just like me, and if they can do it, then I can do it.
Oh. If you ever do one of those challenges again, holler at your boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I
love doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think there's a place for that for sure, because some of the guys that did that challenge with me, I did 2 actually. I did that 60-day knee raise challenge, and then we rolled into a 30-day 100 push-ups every day challenge. And at that point, the guys that did both are not the same person. They prove to themselves, and that's really what needs to happen. It's not them proving to me. They're saying, I'm showing up for you other people, but then they recognize oh, wait, I can do this. I have the track record, I have the proof. I now know I am that guy. So whenever I set my mind to something, I can do what I say I'm gonna do. And that's huge once you get to that level. Because if you don't have that certainty in yourself, then you half-ass stuff, and you, of course, fail. You give into that limiting belief. But once you say, no, I am doing this. Because I have done these other things, I know I can, so I am doing this now. They're on to building their own businesses, they're on to their own physical routines and things, and it has been a door opener, essentially, to them, of look, you had it in you the whole time. The key was inside. You just were waiting for permission to open it, and I gave you that permission through the accountability of hey, we're all doing this, you wanna come along?
Yeah, the invitation. The invitation was the catalyst for massive change. That's awesome.
And I didn't have to, it wasn't like I was checking in all the time saying, hey man, did you do your push-ups today? Yeah, hey, I didn't see the chat, what's going on? A few times, if it had been a few days, I was like, hey, what's up? And they would say, yeah, I know, I need to get back into it. And that's all it needed to be. That was the accountability. It wasn't that hard, really. And we would do our weekly calls, and I'd be like, how's everyone doing? And they would say, yeah, it's actually getting easier. I can do 20 at a time now, where I could only do 15 before. And that started, they wanted to do it now. They saw the progression, and they're like, oh, wow, look at me go. Oh yeah, I see a little bit more muscle. I started I'm drawing a blank on the word, but they motivated themselves essentially by seeing what was happening in the process. And so very few times did I actually have to poke them with the stick and say, hey, get back to work. A few times, sure, and I think that's natural. It's gonna be part of it. Some people fall off and I lost them. I need to then, that shows me I need to grow in my ways with certain people. Everyone's different, and so even at a management level, I'm recognizing you have to talk to everybody differently. Everyone needs a different version of David. And I can't take credit for that realization. That's from Diary of a CEO, Stephen Bartlett. He just posted a video behind the CEO, behind the Diary. It's his other YouTube channel. He said, I show up to Sam and I can talk to him a certain way. And he loves that. I don't have to give him all the nitty gritty details and run through and check in on him. I say, Sam, we need this done, go. He loves that. He knows exactly what he needs to do. If he needs questions, he comes to me, he knows what he needs. If I go over to Angie over here, Angie needs me to say, do this first, and then make sure you check onto that, and then do this thing, and then, come back to me with this, and we'll go from there, okay? She needs a different communication. I have to speak soft to her. I'd say, it's okay. Just work on the next thing, we'll figure this out. With Sam, I could say, what happened, bro? Why didn't you do that? And he's like, I know, yeah, okay, I'll figure it out. And you have to talk to them differently. And I think that it's the same, what I learned is it's the same thing with these physical challenges or even the personal growth is everyone operates differently. And that's what's beautiful about humanity, is that we are all different. If we were all the same person, how boring the world would be. You don't want that. And so now knowing that, I just need to learn what works for these. We can probably group most people into, I don't know, maybe there's 5 to 10 stereotypes, you might call them, of like, this person needs this sort of motivation. This person needs this one. And if I can figure out majority of those, then it increases my effectiveness and makes the impact that I'm really looking to do at the end of the day. And then that person will appreciate me all the more and buy in on their own. And then that doesn't mean just how they are today, doesn't mean they're always gonna be that way. That's the whole point of growth, right? We have a real good tendency of anchoring ourselves to like, I've always been this way, so I'm always gonna be this way. And that's bullshit.
Yeah.
As soon as you change one thing, your mindset, as soon as you decide I'm gonna be different, I don't know exactly what that means, but it's gonna be, starting today, different. Then things can shift. And so the way I talk to somebody one time, next challenge might be totally different. Then I would be happy to see that, to be honest. I'd be like, awesome. And I would support that. And that's one of the fears people have is they're like, I don't know if people are still gonna be my friend or they're still gonna see me the same way if I start acting differently. To which I would say, those people that you're afraid of letting down are holding you back. Because I've found friends that as I continue to grow and change, support me and know me at my core of who I am and accept that version of me and recognize that I will be changing and are happy to see when I change. Instead of being like, wait a minute, dude.
They're actually waiting for you to change. They're waiting for you to evolve.
Or if I don't, it's fine too.
Yeah.
The difference is that what the work they've done and who they are as a person, the soul that person is happy to accept me truly for whoever I am.
Yeah.
Versus people in the past, it's been, hey, we're building our drift cars together, so there's a mutual benefit to us working alongside each other and figuring this stuff out together. Transactional, yes. Yeah. So that person, and when my interests changed, they're like, what do you mean you're not working on a drift car? What do you mean you don't want to go out and drink? What do you mean you don't want to go out in the town? It's like, yeah, I'm kind of getting into other stuff. And they apparently showed that the friendship was predicated on being me small, me being that role, not, hey, I really care about whatever your life story is, and I support who you are and I want the best for you. Yeah. It may not be what I'm into, but if it makes you happy, man, that's what really matters to me.
Yeah.
So finding people like that is kind of hard. And so they're out there. And it took me going through a lonely chapter to find them, where I wasn't one of those people myself. I was very transactional. I didn't know how to accept people and give them that grace or really, because I didn't know how to do it for myself. And so that's where the most valuable thing I can do is show people how to do it for themselves, and then they know how to do it for others. And then it's, the stereotypical, all we need is love. But really, self-love, I think, you have to be a little selfish, start with yourself before you can go outward, which I think logically makes the most sense.
Well, it's not true love if the love is coming from an empty place. So what I mean by that is, if I don't have a level of self-love for myself, how am I truly giving love to others?
Mm-hmm. You can't.
Exactly.
Right.
So
you're performing, you're people pleasing. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you what I think you want to hear, so that you like me, so we can continue whatever game we're playing of friendship, and that carries over to relationships as well.
Yeah.
And that's where I can see relationships sometimes, and I'm like, You probably shouldn't be together, but you are. Your pattern is this. I've been there, so I'm not judging. I'm just saying I've seen it. If I could talk to you on the side, you know, I would kind of like learn about Brene Brown and learn about these patterns and these love languages. Like, I can kind of guide you a little bit because you're ignorant to it. You don't recognize what I'm seeing, and I'm only seeing it because I've been there and I've transcended through these resources and doing this work. And so I know what your relationship is. I know what that feels like. I know why that isn't working. I know what that needs, but I can't do the work for you.
Yeah.
So I can really have compassion for you and care and try to help. But if you're gonna meet me with butting heads and deny it and call me names or whatever, I was just trying to help, man. You know. So I just stopped. You know. And sometimes people can see that and they're in that position where they're like, yeah, this person, so and so's cheating on so and so. You know, and I'm not gonna say anything because it's like not my problem or whatever. And it's like that's really kind of heartbreaking to me. Yeah. You know, where it's really hard for me to be in that position and not say something to somebody. Either tell the one person, like, you realize how much you're going to hurt this person? You know, what is going on with you that's causing you to act this way? Let's get to the core of that because that's really what the root cause problem is. Or go to this other person and be like, you know, this is what this person's doing. And, you know, I think you know what's going on. You know, if you really look into your core, you know, there's been signs, hasn't there? And you're kind of ignoring them. Those are red flags we're ignoring just because it's safe, just because it's comfortable, just because we think, like, it's not that bad, because we don't think we can do better. I've been there. You know, and nobody really has those kinds of conversations. So I see it from old people, young people, and the middle people. Like, it's the same.
Yeah.
My analogy of it is we all start as babies who know nothing. And you're either going to pick up good things or bad things along your own experiences and who you're surrounded with. And so if you grew up in a really loving household, high probability you're going to be a very compassionate person who surrounds themselves with love and can find relationship partners that are similar to that. If you grew up in a really abusive, neglectful household, you don't have that skill. You haven't been able to model behavior because you show up in that way and you're closed off. The people that have all this love, they're only going to give you so much before they recognize like the kind of person you are and like that person's toxic, and it self-limits you and cuts you off from what you really need, which is kind of tragic. But I can understand why we do that. You have to protect our own peace. And so you start as a baby. You're given whatever you're given. That cannot be an excuse, but it is the fact. And then once you're no longer ignorant to like how things can be, it's up to you to decide. But all we really are in these patterns that I see in people is due to their experiences, their level of intelligence, and what they've been exposed to. That it makes sense when I see the same relationship throughout different ages. It's like this person started as a baby, learned up until age 15, and then they kind of stopped trying to learn, or after school, let's say it was 18, they graduated, they are in the same relationship, they've been married 4 times because the same person, same thing, they get cheated on, or they cheat on somebody, or whatever, what have you. Oh, they're in domestic violence fights again with their partner, and like that's all they know. They haven't done the work to recognize, I don't have to live this way, this is how I fix it, and sort of things. So it's honestly sad to see, and then in our country, so much of it revolves around pay me to get the answer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's therapists out there who have been trained from all these guys and gals, who have spent their whole lives doing research and counseling others, and they have spent a lifetime of learning it, wrote it all down, taught the next guy. That guy gets trained up on it real quick, and then does his own stuff, learns it, writes it all down, teaches the next guy. So we've got generations of knowledge available and people that are trained in it. To talk to that person, hundreds of dollars an hour. Not everyone can afford that. The people that need it most generally can't afford that. Even the people who can afford it, need it the most, don't employ it correctly because of their own, what I think happens is the therapist, they're incentivized to keep you coming to them. They also have their own work. They're their own person. They're not a superhuman, So they only can go so far. They're running off someone else's playbook, not their own. And that's great because it can give you a leg up, but it also can frame you in like, this is what I do because I've been trained this thing from school. This is what my insurance says I can do. This person needs this stuff, but like, this is all I got. So I'm hoping that I don't get fallen into that sort of bucket, and that predicating back off of every person needs to be talked to differently. Every person needs to receive love kind of differently, wherever they're at in that process. And so right now it may be just giving questions, just to start poking a little bit. Like a friend of mine one time, we were walking through the woods to go to, it was a festival, right? And so it was time to go to the show. As we're walking in, we make friends with another couple, and we're just chit-chatting. Conversation is going great. These are really cool people. We're getting along just fine. The path diverts. It's a Y. They go to the same place. And it's my first time here, so I don't really know. But even in the conversation, we see the Y coming, and I'm talking to the guy, and I'm like, oh, look, it splits up. Which way are you guys going? I'm like, oh, we always go right. And my friend's like, oh, we need to go left. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure they come back together though, and we'll meet, and we can go in together. We're in the middle of like a good conversation that doesn't need to end. And yet, the anxiety of my friend took over, and even though we had all agreed, and like, what's the worst thing that happens? If we get lost, we can come right back and then go left. Like, it's not the end of the world, right? But in that moment, she was not letting us go right. We went left. And then I go, hey, what was that? It was just a question. I didn't point out. It wasn't like, you fucking idiot, we could have went right. Like, I believe this guy. I'm pretty sure we're gonna run into these people in a minute. And so I'm just like, what was that? What happened there? And she's like, yeah, well, I just always go left. And I can see just her body language, everything is very anxious. And she's like, in a state, a very heightened state, and she's used to things going. She needs that control in that way. I know this way works. This is safe. This is all I'm doing. And so I go, well, we were having a good conversation, weren't we? Like, they were really nice people. She's like, yeah, they're actually really nice people. Like, yeah. And we kind of talked about like, this is gonna meet up with them back up there. So it's kind of silly that we left, isn't it? She's like, yeah, but I just always go left, And like at that point, when I kind of called her out in the nicest way I knew possible. I'm not pointing the finger and saying anything mean, but she started to recognize what I was really getting at. And so I just let her sit with that. And sure enough, we found them. We ran into each other, and I'm like, hey, there you are again. And I make light of it, and it's funny. But in that moment, just me asking 2 or 3 questions, it sat with her. And I didn't have to come back up and make a whole point and spiel about it. But later she came to me and was like, yeah, like this maybe a month later, we were on the phone. She's like, I thought back to that moment, and I think it pointed out something that happens in me where like I just need that control, and that kind of anxiety takes over. And I go, okay, so you're now aware of that, and I think you're completely right. I saw the same thing. That's why I started asking those questions. That's okay. That's where you're at. What you can do with that is just recognizing the moment that's starting to happen, and what can we do to kind of calm down in those phases? When you notice you're getting, now you're aware of it, and you're no longer ignorant to it. What would help? I don't need to give you the answer. I just have to ask the right questions.
Yeah.
And so she's like, yeah, well, I found that, taking a big deep breath, really helps me. I'm like, awesome. Yeah, let's try that next time. See how it happens, or, what happens. And I know that works for me, so I think it'll probably work for you. It's cool. I'm just proud of you, giving like reinforcing feedback of like, I'm proud of you for bringing this to me and recognizing in your own right that this is something that, you'd like to change about yourself, or a way you could improve, because I know you can do it, And so I'm not classically trained in any of this, but I think that that's what people want to hear. We want the kind of like, you need to be called out a little bit. It clearly was genuine because it stuck with her, where she brought it back up to me later. And then when it's brought up, handling that correctly and still being that safe space. Because if I'm ever mean, you're gonna no longer want to come to me. So I have to be like, it's okay to bring this to me. I really just want the best for you. So that's why I brought this up in the first place. I could have been quiet and you wouldn't have had this epiphany.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are.
Yep.
But it matters more to me. I would rather see you grow, even if it means potentially you don't like me because I said this thing and it could go bad. But I think I can handle this to where it's going to be in your best interest. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. We're still grateful. One of my best friends. And that door is now open, where she now knows she can talk to me, and her own epiphanies will come out of life. She's now thinking about life differently in the way she shows up in the world, which just all started with like a little poke. Hey, what was that? I think we could have went right back there. What happened? That's all it took.
What comes to mind is not what you say, but how you say it. But at the same time, it is what you say and how you say it at the same time. And I think not overstepping that boundary of needing to make it right or needing to tell them what was wrong. It's actually just planting the seed of, like you said, what was that? What happened there? And over time, that seed kind of grew, and she probably started noticing that voice come back to her of like, what is that? What are you doing? When the same situation arose in other parts of life, I don't know. I'm just assuming. But I think that's important because myself, it's always not knowing or not being able to gauge what this person needs in the moment. So what I tend to do is just be quiet. Because 9 times out of 10 people just want a soundboard.
Yeah.
Just want to be heard. I think it's also asking the right question. and allowing it to come to fruition, however and whatever timeline that it takes for that individual to receive. So it's important to know that I don't need to over-explain, or I don't need to tell somebody they're wrong or give my 2 cents and project, but just ask a question, a simple question.
Yeah.
That's huge for me in this moment. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. It's just me figuring it out on my own. So, trial and error, really. I would say a lot of times we know what we need and we just don't ask those questions ourselves. So I don't need to know the solution. All I need to do is recognize like this is a way to improve and then just point it out to you with the onus on you in that exact example, right? It's just, you look anxious. I can tell your state has changed, and that's just being able to have like body positioning or body awareness, I guess, of, how someone is their state. And then seeing like, oh, you're triggered right now. What's happening? You're getting anxious because there's a decision that needs to be made. At the core of this why thing is like, left or right, I don't know. I know left works. And so if you can break it down to like, just look past the surface level and say, what's really happening at the core here? It's a decision. Okay, we have decision anxiety. We've now realized what the issue is. So now I can say, how do I overcome that? What helps in this space? What doesn't help? If this helps, let me try that. And if I keep doing that, put in the reps now, we're at that stage of it. Now when we're at the decision point, we know how to self-regulate and we become better at making the decision. And so that's growth. Mm-hmm. It's a process. It starts with awareness and then trying stuff. Yep. I don't know if this is going to work. Let's see what happens. Oh, that made it worse. Okay, what else could we do? I think that's what therapists are trained to do, though, is a lot of times questions. I went to a relationship therapist as my relationship was falling apart, and then a couples counselor, and then an individual therapist as well. And I would pick up on what they were doing. I just couldn't help but do that. And a lot of times it was just asking questions. So when so-and-so does this, how does that feel? Like, I already know the answer. And so then they bring it up, okay, that totally makes sense. Validate the claim. That makes sense. I understand. Yeah, that would feel that way too. I get that. What can we do about that? I don't need to say, hey, when she does this, do this. Because that's going to go, we lost them. Because now I'm telling you what to do. You didn't have that epiphany on your own. You don't now believe it. Mm-hmm. It can work sometimes, but it's not really you getting on board. And now I'm teaching you how to self-soothe or how to solve the problem yourself instead of me. It's a teach a man to fish versus give a man a fish.
Yeah.
And that is the most valuable thing. Just like with your fascial maneuvers, you're teaching people how to do them themselves so that they don't need you, right? And because you can see how important it is for people, and you can also see that they're well within their possibility to do it. So seeing that potential in them and just feeding into it. It's the same thing that I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah.
It takes a little bit of practice. Like I'm really not it's in my nature to just fix.
Which is pretty interesting because while I guide people through fascial maneuvers, it's, I'm telling them there is no right or wrong way. It's knowing what position to get into, and whatever you feel in your body is unique to you. So therefore, it's not telling them. I will tell them what it is that I'm feeling real time in my body to see if it elicits something within them to start feeling something.
Okay.
Because if you're completely disconnected from your body, then you don't know what you're feeling. But if you hear it from somebody, so I'm just seeing the correlation between, oh, I do that already, just translate it into everything else that I've done for people and why people come and see me.
Yep.
It's like that neurological connection wasn't there until this moment.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, so yeah.
It's the same principle.
Yeah.
A lot of these principles carry over to so many things in life. Our body is very intuitive. We don't listen to it. And a lot of times through physical and emotional and spiritual. If we made silence and space for it instead of getting on the phone, instead of getting on the TV, instead of distracting with substances or activities, then we eliminate a lot of that noise, really paid attention to what we're feeling or think we need. A lot can be done on your own. What happens is we live in a world that's been purposely propped up to profit off of our desire to avoid doing that. Because it's human psychology to take the easy route, to get the instant reward. We now know that it's through chemicals in our brain, through like dopamine and serotonin or whatnot, that has been preyed upon, I think, by a lot of the capitalistic machine, because that was the game that was set up. The game is, give me more money and I win. How can I get you to give me more money? Well, I found these patterns because I'm not the first guy to figure this stuff out. There's plenty of people who are way smarter than me that had different motivations than I did. And so then you're now finding yourself in a very hard time today where we're up against one of the strongest machines through, social media. The TikTok is, I think, the worst one at just like, it just will grab you in and make you stay on that thing instead of doing things that are a lot more meaningful. Instagram's another one, YouTube, Netflix, drama between friends. There's so many different things out there that hold you back, I think. And if we look back, if we remove a lot of what society has and get back to the core of just like, you're a baby who has a body and people around them. And if you focus on that and how well can I connect to those people around me, that is what a lot of growth is predicated on. That is a lot of the benchmark of being a good person, or being a whole, complete person, or being able to show up for people in a real, genuine way and really loving people. It all just comes back to how can I show up for them. To do that, I have to show up for myself first. To do that, I have to really look inward and then try these things and reiterate and then put the reps in, and then it becomes my new normal. And so you're up against a big blocker in society, and it's intentionally designed that way. So then once another thing, nobody tells you that. This system, the media machine, TV.
I think most people don't even see it.
Intentionally. It started, imagine back before TV was a thing.
Hold on. Intentionally, this is where I think it's really unintentional because they're so absolved into it. It's become such a program that they can't see past it. But then it's brought to you verbally, visually, what may have you. You're learning this through someone else's experience. And that's where it becomes intentional. I'm going to intentionally block this out because the program is the comfort zone. It's what I know. It's what feels good. Sorry. Continue. If I threw you off, my bad.
Yeah, no. So you're saying that the individual is intentionally doing it, or the company is intentionally doing it?
I think both.
Yeah.
The company for sure, because they know how to entertain you. They know how to hold your mind.
Yeah, they've got shareholders that they have to try to make happy through these techniques.
So I think I told you this last time. The etymology of entertain, enter to go in, tain to hold, mind, meant is mind. To go in and hold your mind. That's what entertainment means.
Wow.
So these companies know how to hold your mind. Everything you see being marketed is to hold your mind and attention, subliminal messaging to implant into your subconscious mind. The companies know this, the marketing companies know this, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
The individual who has the deep running program that they've seen the same companies for their entire lives have no idea until they come in contact with information about it. Hey, did you know that this is what these companies are actually doing and this is what's happening to you? Now it's intentional, like, that could be true, but I don't want to believe it. So now it's intentional that I'm not going to look here and I'm not going to go. That's what I meant by that.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. Wow. Yeah, it's well said. I think the reality.
You talk about depth. Depth goes way deeper, and there's an abyss to depth. And when you start looking at life from a different lens, it's really hard to sit there and hear people's excuses. But it's like, forgive them for they do not know. It's people are at where they're at in life, and you need to meet everybody for where they're at, right? But anyways, that's a whole different conversation. But to that part, and I hope I didn't skew your mind so much that you're off track, but the intentionality part by people, I think it's them not wanting to look there.
Yeah, so we seem to be hardwired to resist change. We want to resist the unknown because we know what to expect and like having a routine, or it's why you stay in a relationship that you know you should leave. It's safer, it's more comfortable, I know what to expect. I don't know what happens if I leave. You know, can I support myself? Will I find somebody better? You know, is it really as bad as I think it is? That uncertainty, we're biased to hold on to what we have more so than look at what we can stand to gain. And so, yeah, it's, if you're comfortable, you enjoy your life where you are spoon-fed entertainment, and your whole kind of social circle also is along the same lines, then, you know, the sum of the 5 people you're around, and that's where you're going to stay. But if you start seeing, like, wait a minute, this is all kind of propaganda. This is all meant for me to buy. This is all influencing how I show up day to day. Then it's kind of like, have you ever seen, I think the movie is They Live?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like we're living in a world with a bunch of aliens, and then the guy sees the glasses, and it's all propaganda, basically, the whole world. And once he's got the glasses on, he's like fighting all the aliens that are like, actually, they're like, oh, he can see, he can tell. Great movie. It's Roddy Piper. But that's pretty realistic to how the society works, sadly. If you haven't seen that movie, you should really check it out, because it kind of shows you and opens your mind to it in a way. It's a funny movie also, but
It was in the 80s it was made, yeah?
yeah, the 80s, yeah. Roddy Piper, he's a wrestler. He does great in it. But no, like, once you see it, like, imagine those glasses. I feel like as I learned about business, or as I started to learn about the psychology of, you know, what these are patterns and things, we found out that people seem to operate this way. And especially if you find you're in a culture, like, the world is a big place. There are different cultures amongst the world who live completely different than how Americans live. Do we travel to those other places? I personally have done very minimal international travel. As somebody who's not living in poverty, I've had the option to, and I still haven't taken it very much. The only time that I have actually gone international was when work paid for it. So all I get to see is what's on that television or on my phone about how other people live. And some things are too far out there where I don't want to replicate them. And some things I'm interested in, but I don't have any way to do it around here, or other people aren't interested in it as well, or there's very few, so I don't find them. So you live in this society that just is self-perpetuating. We don't really go out and see, like, oh, there's actually kind of a whole other way of doing it. And then that way you think that those people are crazy. Well, you haven't actually been there and experienced it. Maybe there's something that they're doing that's actually really wholesome, or you might really enjoy. You're ignorant to it in a way because you haven't actually tried it, and yet we've almost been brainwashed to, like, defend, like, America's the best country. So then we look down on everybody else without even ever, we're ignorant, and we think that we know everything. And how does that make sense? Like, it absolutely doesn't. So what's great about travel and seeing how other people live is I always come with an open mind, because I don't think there's a right way to do it. I think that there's just what's right for each person. And the likelihood that I was born into the exact perfect life for me is like nil. So with that mindset, I now recognize, like, well, it's up to me to try things and figure it out. What do I like? Is there a better way of doing things? Because what I've been told I'm supposed to do is go to school, be a good boy, get my degree, go get a job, have job security, work up to buying and owning a home, find a nice girl, have kids, and that's supposed to be the dream life, right? That's what we've been sold. I don't agree with all that. I found out in my own journey who I am as a person, which we are all individual people, so that cannot, by definition, cannot work for every single person, even though that's what we're telling them through our school systems and culture, essentially. It's broken, it's flawed from the start when you see it that way. So then I'm like, okay, who are you to tell me who I am and what I like? Like, I don't even know. And I'm the closest person to me. Okay, then who am I? Let's go back to the basics. And that's where I really had to start, was like, what do I like? What am I good at? What do I not like? Because that's a question we don't ask enough.
Yeah.
And so once you get a firm understanding of that, which takes time and trial and error and getting out of your comfort zone and having an open mind, essentially, that a lot of people have been, like, the propaganda today has done a great job of putting the left and the right against each other. That wouldn't exist if those people weren't allowing themselves to be persuaded. They're allowing themselves to be persuaded because they haven't been shown what I just said, essentially. They're like, hey, this thing is not necessarily right for anybody. So why do you think that 100% of what the decisions of the left make is going to align with you? I think it's probably pretty rare. So why are you going to, like, fight to the death for one thing that they're, you know, supporting? Like, for me, it's there's ignorance is bliss. Because when I didn't understand how all that was and hadn't put that much thought into it, I was very happy to toe the line and be a happy idiot. But now that I see it, it's like, I don't like the system at all. I don't know where I fit in with it. I don't support really any of it. I'm just like, okay, I know who I am at my core. I care about how I treat other people. I'm not going to put a label on what it is or what that means. I just recognize that in every moment, if I can show up in a way that doesn't sit badly on my conscience, then I am winning at my own life. And that's where I operate from. And so I will only know so much because there's so much to learn and, you grow, that at any one time, I may not be perfect. But if I can say honestly, like with each moment that went by, I did what I thought was right. That's what I'm looking for. And that may change as I learn more things, but as long as in my heart, whenever we have our final judgment, which shows up in like almost all religions, so there's probably something about it, that I can say to God, the creator of the universe, whatever, and say, judge my life, and I know when they do like the heart, I like the Egyptian one where there's the scale, where it's like they put your heart into it and a feather, and your heart has to be lighter than a feather. I want my heart to be as light as possible when I get there. And that's where I really core operate from. And that comes with its own challenges, especially as a child, before I was so self-aware and able to self-regulate. Because if I have a thought and it makes me angry and I blow up, I lose control of myself, essentially. And a lot of people do. That's, I think, where fights come from. A fight doesn't solve anything. It's not like you showed him and now he's going to change his mind. Like, if anything else, he hates you even more. Like, you didn't solve anything, you just hurt yourself. It's pretty stupid in my eyes. What needs to happen is the ability to communicate and self-regulate and say, we can have a totally different view, and that's fine. It's not like I need to beat you to a pulp to prove you wrong. Like, that didn't solve anything. I was at a point, not that I've ever been in a fight, but where I wouldn't give other people a real chance to explain themselves. I wouldn't open my mind to it. I would stay in a more triggered state or closed off mind that ultimately was just holding me back. I'm at a point now where like I'm happy to hear anyone's opinion, and I may or may not agree with it. I may or may not take some of it, or may take all of it. Who knows? But who am I to say you're doing it right or wrong? I just know what feels right to me, and I just try to lean into that. And in some ways, it's that simple. And in other ways, it's really hard to actually do.
Yeah. I think where it's hard for us to do, where that shows up, is what am I attached to? What belief or what knowing that I've experienced is attaching me to that feeling, that sensation that arises within, which it makes me advert exactly what it is that I'm being told. What's arising in me? What is the belief system there?
Yeah.
And I think by accepting other people's perspectives, the more you don't even need to understand it, but to hear them out fully and actively listen through it, it will then allow you to have a multi-perspective view on whatever it is that you're talking about. And from having they say, I've heard so many times, the person with the most perspectives in the room is the one who's winning. I mean, winning at life. Because if you can understand and have compassion and love for everyone's point of view in there and understand where they're coming from, that's just more wisdom to who you are.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with that. Yeah, I think your presence changes when you are no longer emotionally triggered by someone else's words. Because what you're doing is giving them power over you. And it takes self-awareness to even recognize when you're triggered. That is a pattern recognition. A lot of what we do is pattern recognition. And once you recognize it, deciding, do I want it to stay this way or do I want to change things? And then figuring out how to change it, right? And then I completely agree. It's the same principle. We've said the same process just in so many different ways, right? I'm repeating myself. But it works. I mean, that is the process. I know what you're talking about, where the person in the room that has the most knowledge and open-mindedness to different things is given the most opportunities. Because I'm like, I just met up my buddy, and he called me a chameleon. I hadn't seen him in a long time, and we were at a car event, and I know nobody but him there. And yet I made friends with the driver and the driver's dad and the track owners we got to meet and stuff, and I'm making friends with all that staff and everything. And he's like, yeah, David's a chameleon. He just like fits in anywhere. I'm like, yeah, because I don't let anything bother me to where I'm like, oh, I have to prove you wrong, you're a fucking idiot, and take anything personal. I'm very confident in who I am, and I show up and show people respect, and I ask them good questions about what they know or what they're interested in. And it allows me to like just move throughout the room and fit in wherever I want to go, essentially. And it's so much more fun to be that way than to be staunch into whatever thing I think is important. Because at the end of the day, if I come to somebody and I'm like, you're wrong, you have to do this, you're not listening to me. No, I'm now your enemy. It's the wrong way to bring anyone's mind along to what you're thinking. It comes back to more like the questions or the just pointing things out, and people are more open to that.
Yeah.
But you don't learn that. You can either figure it out on your own, or maybe you're taught it. But a lot of people aren't. So I would say that's like my favorite thing I've grown into, is that ability that, like, good luck making me mad. Like, it's almost impossible. There's one person at work I will say that has figured it out, and that's because I now can say and take the ownership. I let him. And so then it was a growth opportunity. It took me a while to figure that out, where I was like, why does this person just trigger me immediately anytime he opens his mouth? I'm not like this with anybody else. So that was a way for me to learn a new skill, which I'm thankful for now, although I've lost sleep over it. I've wasted time talking to friends about it and stuff. But ultimately, I'm thankful for it now, because now I'm at this next level. That besides him, I haven't had anybody actually get under my skin in years, because I'm genuinely curious about the world and what everyone has to think. A lot of times I'm in a conversation where I know nothing about it. Like, I'm at a racetrack. I don't know anything about these cars or the track or what it's like, whatever. Like, who am I to have any opinion? I don't. Like, I shouldn't. So I walk away a lot of times with more questions, and then I have genuine curiosity, and I either allow them to teach me, which people love, to teach people stuff, and then it's valuable time for me, because now I'm learning new things that these principles may carry over to something I don't even recognize that there's a correlation to. Or I walk away with, like, I'm going to learn this on my own. I'm interested in this. That if I stop the conversation early because I thought that they were wrong, like, I ruined that for myself.
Yeah, you cheated yourself.
Cheated myself.
Yeah.
Yep. Why would I want to do that?
Yeah.
It's another saying I've always thought of, in my own mind, is like, once you're aware of something, where you recognize a pattern, and then a lot of times we can choose, like, I'm just going to do it anyway. Well, then you're lying to yourself, because you should do it a different way. That's the dumbest thing you can do, is lie to yourself. Like, if anyone you should not lie to, it's you. Mm-hmm. Because you're just shooting yourself in the foot. You're just holding yourself back. Like, I've always luckily had that mentality at my core, which I learned very early, and have stuck to that. It's one of those, like, mantras. I will never cheat on a partner, and I will not lie to myself, to the best of my ability. There's been a couple times where I look back at another relationship, I was like, oh, that's kind of lying to myself. Well, then but I use that as a growth opportunity, right? So it's really been a North Star for me. And I think a lot of people, especially with society and stuff, it's easier. We're afraid of the change. We will lie to ourselves to stay comfortable, even though we're really uncomfortable.
Boom.
Yep.
Yeah. I think being inquisitive about others and about life is very important to growth. And I think holding that standard of morality is utmost important. Diving into, like, Buddhist teaching, it's there's 10 different paramis, and these 10 different paramis you sort of look like as jars in front of you, and throughout each day you want to kind of drip a little bit of energy into each jar to build up your paramis. And this falls in line with the laws of nature, the natural law of things. So what you put in is what you get out, whether it's positive or negative. We see that reflect back, right?
Yep.
Our internal state is a reflection of the external state. So I think I didn't learn that. I didn't learn half of what you just talked about, because throughout my 20s, I lied and cheated on my partner who loved me the most. And I didn't learn until I lost everything and tried to, do something really horrible to myself, that I woke up and I'm like, this isn't the way to live. So I think that's really important to bring into people's lives, and to really have that drive of questioning things, and especially the introspection that you hold is very important. Yeah, man.
Yeah. I'm sorry you had to kind of learn it the hard way. Yeah. That's what the Unlocked Man is supposed to prevent people from doing.
And that's important. Yeah, then people need that.
Yeah, I think it is really important in this world. And just to speak to that really quickly, that our social media is doing a great job at showing us how to not be social. You know what I mean? Every time I bring up, even at the family today, I was like, yeah, my realization is, what I'm seeing a lot is that we are losing the ability to talk to each other because we're on the phone, because we're on the TV, we're on the laptop. Like, it's a lot of, even virtual Zoom meetings aren't the same as what we're doing right now. It's a skill we're truly losing that is core to humanity.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the most important skills you can have, is the ability to connect and relate to others. We are trying to replace it with technology, VR, Zoom calls, the cell phone. Like, okay, yeah, I'm looking at a person, but it's not the same thing as like being in the same room and really connecting. The energy levels are obviously going to be different that you're missing out on through that. So I think that there's really going to be a big need for just teaching people how to like make friends.
So get back to humanity. Get back to the humanness of who we are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because we are really losing touch with what makes us human by chasing brilliantly curated products.
Yeah.
That play onto other desires. And yet some of the happiest people in the world are the people that don't have great technology. I think like if you look at the blue zones, one of the reasons those people live so long is because they look forward to their local community. They have these friends they've had their whole life that they get up and do things together. They play their games together. They garden together, whatever, activity. But like there's a reason to get up, and they're around community, and they share food, and they do work together, and they really know those people intimately. We are living in a society that has devalued that tremendously. And I think that it's a real issue. It's not how we're supposed to live. And who am I to say, but it's when you look at the data starts to kind of paint a picture. And now I can't say who's right or wrong. I never would say you're 100% right and you're 100% wrong. But when you see how much suicide, depression rates are in the world leader of technology, and how we're like the first world compared to these other cultures that don't have a lot of the technology and ways of culture that we have, and they're living a lot healthier and better, they're not killing themselves, then it's like, well, let's rethink this maybe. There might be something going wrong here.
So it sounds like we're a third world country in that regard.
Yeah. And probably the most important facet of existence. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So it's important that the work you're bringing to life serves people in a way that brings them back to that knowing of themselves and in relation to others. Bringing back that human aspect, like I said.
Yeah, I mean, through my childhood, through my 20s, through all my relationships, constantly felt like something was missing. Constantly felt like I wasn't enough, or was not able to really show up and show myself. I think that there's a lack of connection, you could say, at the core. And it was only once I recognized how to connect with myself that then I knew how to connect with other people. That isn't really taught too much, unfortunately. So you live this life, and a lot of us never learn it. I'm fortunate that I have, of how to connect with myself to then connect with others. That you see grandparents who still, like the granddad and grandma hate each other. They just stay together because that's what they were taught to from society. You can't leave or whatever. But like, they haven't liked each other for decades. That's not a real loving connection anymore. And I mean, time changes things. I'm only 35 or 34. We'll see when I'm 70 something what I'm like. But I think that it's unfortunately rare to find people who have really gotten in touch with themselves and tuned with themselves, and then learn the ability to show up for others and really connect with others. And that's, I think, the biggest tragedy of how we live, because it's the most fulfilling thing. My existence, by not having that for so long, was always like, there's a hole, there's something missing, there's something more. What is it? I'm looking at it through substances, through girls, through hobbies, money. Like, I'm trying to fill this hole. And you might say that hole could be spirituality or religion as well. Some people, I've heard, they fulfill that hole through that. For me, I think that it's a combination of like being spiritual, but also really being in tune with just being a human.
So can you chalk that up to meaningful connection, first and foremost with yourself, and that transpires and trickles out? Or is that super simplified to what you're actually explaining or talking to?
Hit me with it one more time.
Meaningful connection.
Meaningful connection.
So you talk about spirituality and religion. That to me is meaningful connection. Meaningful connection, whether people know it with themselves deeply, or with something outside of themselves that is not attainable.
Yeah. We're searching for meaningful connection.
Okay.
Yeah. Essentially, yeah. Because I think we're very lonely. You may be surrounded by a bunch of people, but if you're not showing up as your real self, then you don't feel like they really know you. So you're afraid to be your real self. You put on this face to fit in. So are you really accepted? No. You feel like I'm only accepted if I'm this version of myself who really isn't me, but I'm too afraid to change now because they won't accept me. So you're very lonely even though you're surrounded by people, which is a funny paradigm, I guess, or whatever that it's called. A quagmire to find yourself in.
Quagmire. Yeah. A sticky situation.
Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate that happens all too often. I think it's a Chris Williamson quote. There's the lonely chapter. So he says it better than I can, although I've tried to explain this to like 20 different people at this point. You've made a friends group. Let's start there. You have a group of, let's say, 10 people that you hang out with. This is who you go on trips with, you go to dinners with, you keep up with these people in their lives pretty well. They likely started from high school friends, right? When we had socialization as part of our day, not just we went to work and that's the people you socialize with. Inevitably, those are 10 individuals who are going to have life differently. They're going to be different people. So to expect that your whole life, those are going to be your friends is kind of rare. It happens in small cultures where like the village only has 50 people. Those are going to be your people. But in our world, where people move cross country or internationally, or even just across the city sometimes is enough, you're going to be in different circles. And then those interests are going to take you, one person's a snowboarder, one person's in a motocross, this person likes business, this person's like finances. Those natural interests now, it's like we don't really connect anymore like we did in high school. So that's naturally going to happen, and you're going to have new friends groups.
That should be a staple in the education system. These people who you're close with now, don't expect to have them later in life. Don't get so attached. I wish I would have known that.
That's not exactly true, though, because some of the best friends I have, I've known one since 4th grade, two of them since 4th grade. Another one or two, there's like 2 or 3 people from high school that I connect with, and one of them was the guy I just met at the track. So it's possible to make friends that really last quite long. The difference there is I don't care what they get into, I love that person.
Okay.
Right.
That's the golden thread.
That's exactly how you put it, a golden thread. I'm just thrilled that they have a happy family and that they're pursuing their goal.
Yeah.
And whatever it is they choose to do, I support the shit out of you. Because I really care about you, because you've been nothing but good to me. It's reciprocal. Okay, so back to my analogy or my life path, right? So after high school, everyone kind of goes their own way, and maybe some people, you still try to be in this group. I've deviated off the Chris Williams thing and my own thing, but okay. Back to the main friends group. As those people age, they're naturally going to grow at different things. Either the relationship they get in or other social circles they get into, it's going to push these people into different levels. If we're using like a bar graph, this person's growing faster than this person's growing. So I'm now interested in a different way of being, that your bad habits and patterns I can now call out and have boundaries for, and you're not getting to see what I'm doing, you're not growing, so like we don't really click anymore. Like I'm not interested in going out and drinking and you're still there. I'm not gonna get all triggered and mad about the same things that you really are, and so we don't really get along too much anymore. So then there's a lonely chapter where you start growing, you start learning new things about yourself, you're trying new things, and because of that, you no longer fit in with your old set of friends. But you're not sufficiently developed where you fit in with your new set of friends. So you're in this lonely middle where like you still got to do the reps, you have to either build a business or the body or learn whatever, so communication skills, whatever it is that is going to take you to that next level where you then fit in. And that can take years, that can take months, that can take weeks. It depends on what it is where you, like, I don't really get along with Susie anymore, you know? We've been friends since 4th grade. I have to kind of let her go. If I don't, I'm holding myself back and it's energy that's going towards something that shouldn't. I'm thankful for the time I had with Susie. She was great, she was what I needed then. She's not what I need anymore, she's the opposite of what I need. So now, I don't know who the next Susie is, where I'm really gonna fit in with. But I will continue to go down the path of what feels right and what's leading me and what I think I should be working on and what's my natural interests, to then eventually you find those people. And then you're like, wow, this is great. I'm done being lonely. I've got my friends group. I can go hang out with people again, and they're really meaningful, and we connect in such a deep level, and everything's awesome until it happens again. You're growing too fast, or now they're growing faster than you, and it's like, come with me. I care for you. You're not doing the work. I'm not going to slow down. Like, we're just kind of going differently. And so then it repeats again. You're in a lonely chapter. And if you do it right, unfortunately, it happens again and again and again and again. Except for the silver lining, I guess, or like the good news is those friends I've had since high school or elementary school. Luckily, I picked some really good friends. And they're also growing into quite phenomenal people. And we support each other to this day. Even though their interests may be slightly different, I found people that at their core I can get along with. And so far to this day, it's still working. I don't know when I'm 70 if they'll still be there. For some of them, I thought it was over. And then like happenstance, we connected again and I was like, awesome. It's like nothing ever changed. But I've also had other friends group where I was like, these are my boys. I'm hanging out with these people all the time. This is life. Things are fun. I got into very different topics and subjects. They were not following me into it. I'm recognizing this is holding me back. I've got to cut ties. That sucked. I lost an entire friends group. Now I'm like, who am I? What do I do? I don't know anybody.
I'm alone.
Literally. I'm alone. Zoolander, right?
Yeah.
And then I've been fortunate to land in this current group. I found a lot of people who are very conscious and accepting and believe in supporting their friends because they're doing it themselves. And so they're just looking for that, I think, reciprocal. And it's great. I mean, I'm really lucky of where I've landed. I don't know this will always be where I am. But for the time being, I'm so grateful for where I am. And I want things to go well. I have the best of intentions. But if we're looking at the pattern of just how life seems to go, it's pattern recognition once again. At some point, I will grow out of this and recognize that like the problems you're having, I've solved. And I've tried to help you with it. There's only so far you've gone with it. I now have these other opportunities and these other people that like it's very in tune with what I'm trying to do. Like, thank you for the time we had together. I'm not gonna be able to hold the same space for you anymore. We can catch up every couple of years and get a phone call. And that's kind of what a lot of friendships end up degrading into. I don't know if there's anything wrong with that. It's everyone has their own path. And I believe everything is kind of like predetermined or predestined, which gives me a lot of solace in the fact that like I don't have to take on all that worry and concern because whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen. So I just do whatever feels right in the moment. Apparently that's what I'm supposed to do. If I try to overthink everything else and control everything, it just adds undue stress and holds me back, and things maybe never manifest that I spent hours stressing about. The Corvette, for example, right? So I've had enough of that pattern recognition. That pattern has happened enough times to recognize that's not serving me.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's the lonely chapter. I think it's a great analogy and thing. I don't know where he got it from, but that's where I learned it from.
That's probably my favorite chapter of life.
Really, the lonely chapter.
Oh yeah. Where it's contraction, expansion. Loneliness, the willingness to be lonely, I think is a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah.
Because I know from experience, I fall deeper in love with myself in those states of being reclused, those times of being reclused, and I come out just a more beautiful, elevated version of myself. And then I integrate and I find these people that are like-minded, on the same frequency as me, and then we grow together. And then, like you just explained so eloquently, they may come with you, they may not.
Yeah.
So I look forward to those times when loneliness comes into my life. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what would you tell somebody who is just now starting to feel this pull towards a different lifestyle, who may not feel so confident in stepping into what they're feeling drawn to?
Oh, that's natural.
Yeah.
That's completely expected. That's part of the process. We all have that.
Yeah.
So you're not special. Mm-hmm. You are the average. And you have to just do it. There's no way to other than just start, which is cliche, but true. You start messy, you're bad, and then you learn. And then you find principles that carry over to other things, and because you learned that thing, now this thing's easier that I didn't even recognize where it's connected. So it's very rewarding in the end when you're able to just start and learn and you surprise yourself with where it goes. Mm. Yeah. I think when you were saying that about the lonely chapter, you enjoy it. I completely agree. Like I'm currently have locked myself in where I'm not hanging out intentionally. And how much I have grown and learned in that time when I'm not allowing these distractions. If we go back to that 20%, David, is too many things I'm juggling. I haven't gone down to one. To be fair, there's still multiple things that I'm juggling, but the speed at which I am foraying into completely new fields and truly understanding them and then employing them is very impressive to myself and is only building my self-confidence in where I can go. And so I know, to your point, when I decide to go back out in the world, I'll be able to talk shop with people on a totally different level of things I didn't know before, but because I took the time, that's now my gift to the world. And so it seems kind of selfish in a way. Oh, this is beautiful. It seems kind of selfish in a way when you say no to the world and you say, I can't hang out, I can't do the thing. Sorry, you don't get access to me. But because I said no and really devoted into growth and learning these new things, when I come back out, I have so much more to give. And then I think it's a pattern of that. Because if you stay grinding the whole time and you're locked in too much, monk mode, I think they call it, it's great until it's not. And you get addicted to that, and that's not healthy in its own right. So finding a pattern, for me at least, I've recognized I need that time where I go in, and then I need to come back out and just like reassess where I'm at and just be so thankful for like, oh my God, this is amazing, I'm here. And then go back into it with like, now knowing this is where I want to go. There's one other thing that you were saying that I wanted to point out, but I think I've lost it. Man, anyways.
I'm guilty of going monk mode. It gets so the growth that I am achieving. This is how I'll put it. I go monk mode when I start to develop a craving towards the growth I'm having internally as an individual, what may have you. It becomes a craving, and I start avoiding what needs to be done in the exterior. I went from successful business, making really great money, the most I've ever made, between the ages of 26 and 30, and my journey started.
Yeah, so you were saying that you're guilty of being in monk mode
Yeah.
for too long, where it ends up actually being detrimental, and then having the struggle of friends trying to pull you out of it and say, hey, come out and hang out and do this, and you're struggling telling them, no, I would rather just stay monk mode, and how to actually communicate that respectfully because you still care about them. And when you want to have that option, but right now it isn't what you're feeling.
Yeah.
And I can understand. It's hard to give people bad news, at least for myself. And I feel like when I tell people, hey, I can't hang out, that's bad news. Because I recognize in their side, it's so nice of them to even offer. Like the invitation is so nice. And then when I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
That's hard to say. And I try to make it better by going like, the reason why, though, is I'm really focusing on this right now because I think it's going to take me to this. And so that's where that's where I feel like I'm being led in my whole life. So if I was to hang out tonight, it's not going to let me do that thing. So that's the reason why I'm saying no, not because I don't want to hang out with you. And so far, people have taken that well.
Yeah.
It's a communication skill. Because I expect at some point if I continue to say no, then you lose that invitation.
Yep. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, this doesn't feel good. I keep getting rejected.
Yeah.
Apparently, he doesn't want to be my friend, and that may not be the truth. It just may be that we're having more fun doing something else, at least for the time being.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something I even struggle with.
Yeah.
But a lot can be done. Like if for monk mode is not giving into anything except for your goals, let's say, is a quick definition of it. So that could be the gym. And so the best way to be consistent in the gym is to eliminate drinking and hanging out with friends and not going to the gym. Mm-hmm. And so your diet is dialed in. You're taking all the supplements you need to take. You're showing up and doing the workouts and you're tracking everything. You're on it. And so look at the results. Like you're building muscle. You're feeling good. Your numbers are going up. It works. And that's what's scary about it because it is like, it's doing what I want. Why would I change? but I think that's where it needs to be a balance. And so in my own life, I recognized I am so good at going into monk mode and not recognizing I'm just burning myself out and kind of spinning my wheels and not really progressing as quickly as I could.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't aware that I was just spinning my wheels. So I recognized what works for me is almost monthly or every few months at most, having a planned fuck off period.
And that's what you're coming into.
Yeah, this next month is going to be honestly an imbalance of a fuck off period. But yeah, I didn't plan it this way, but I will be going for a whole month basically and just giving myself a big fun time.
Yeah.
That's honestly, the schedule is kind of stressful. However, I'm going to keep an optimistic and fun mindset throughout it, and no matter what happens, it's going to be great. And I'm sure the me that comes out of the other side of that experience is what I needed. Everything happens for a reason. And I'll be so thankful for those times I did spend, because leading up to this, I have given myself so many times I said no. And so finally to be like, yes, go have fun, is, it's got to be that balance. And then going forward, I wouldn't do it as jam-packed as I'm about to. I would probably, and what I was kind of doing last year was almost monthly. I would go to a show or go travel somewhere. Doesn't have to be a big thing, but just something to break the pattern of I wake up, I go to work, I come home, I eat food, I go to sleep. That gets old after a while. I need something that's like, I went out and I went camping. I went out and saw this show. I got to see these people. I did this thing. And just the long weekend is all it takes sometimes. And then you can lock back into like, oh, I got another month maybe before I need this again. Maybe 2 months. And I think that's a healthier balance, because then those people aren't on the back burner so long that they give up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's important. I was gonna say something. I just drew a blank. How long have you been in your monk mode for? That now you're taking this month break.
Intentionally since January.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're at almost 3 months. And it has been, I went in without a real clear like goal in mind. I was just like, the first 3 months of this year, I'm not doing anything but this. Let's see what happens. And now where I'm at, the third month is coming to an end essentially. And I'm shocked with how much I got done. So much so that it's like, oh, we're doing this again. This works.
Great motivation.
Oh, hugely. This is exactly what I needed to be. I am exactly who I needed to be to make my reality that I want to come true. The picture of like me on stage and having the business and all the friends and everything, like it's right there. Keep doing this. And that's where you can get sucked into monk mode.
Yep.
Yeah, because the longer I don't do that, that's getting delayed even longer.
Mm-hmm. And I think
That's what it feels like.
I think taking everything you have been cultivating during monk mode and putting it into application on your journey that you're going on for a month is going to be just an exponential boost in becoming that new version of you.
Yeah, and so that's the whole pattern exonified. I said no to the world for 3 months. I went back out into it and was able to do way more with it. My gifts that I brought to the world completely shifted because of that time I took for myself, that now I can show up the world differently. And then repeat that pattern, get back into it for a few months, and then give myself like, oh, maybe it's a cruise next time. And then repeat the pattern. And I think that the goal is to get to a point where it doesn't require me to shut myself in so much, that if I can integrate the time I spend working on the computer, let's say, it may be something simple as like, let's just all sit in the same room and do it. Like you've got your business going, I've got my business, you're working on yours or whatever we're trying to learn and do, but let's just at least do it in the same room. And occasionally we might say, oh dude, I just learned this, let's check this out. This is really cool. At least it's not just me alone in my room.
That's actually, I agree with that idea. And because just like I explained when I do my Pajot maneuvers, when you're in community, growth is exponential throughout the process. And just being around people that have the same kind of drive, not the same, desired outcome, what may have you, but that are working towards something, I think is super important. So you let me know, bro. I want to be part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could probably do it here.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
That would be cool.
There's a place, a few people.
Yeah, we played it on the table.
Yeah, I would love that, dude. I know 2 people that have a house over north downtown that they're converting into this place called the Journey Inn, and their idea is to bring people, a conscious creator, so to speak, into creating a hub for people to come together and like co-create. And
Oh, cool.
if you need help filming or you need help with this, and so having
would
that
be
collaborative
great.
little space. But
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, that's a brilliant idea. And then exponential growth happens.
yeah,
Because I don't have anyone I can hit up and be like, hey, I got this video idea. I need someone to be the cameraman, or I need someone to bounce the ideas off with, or I need them to be in the video, whatever. I don't have that, so it's so much more on me. There's that example, and then there's also just being around those other people with stuff I don't even recognize I'm missing out on will just come up naturally in the conversation, just being in that room sometimes.
So is your work week with your job, is that Monday through Friday and you have the weekends off?
Right.
Got you. So your weekends are dedicated to this right now?
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah, I kind of love it.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's having a vision, and once you have a vision you care about, something you care about, you'll do anything to get that thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important part. Like you said you started out with, I am going to, I forgot how you framed it, but you're essentially going to dedicate yourself to doing this without a clear vision, and then that vision developed. Did I have that right?
For this lock-in period?
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I was just
and now
like,
you found your way. You're like, this is it.
100%, dude. Isn't that crazy?
That's
I was
awesome.
2.5 months away.
Yeah.
That's all I needed. After a year or so of really thinking about it, 2.5 months from having so much more of like a roadmap figured out. And it's not completely ironed out, but it's like, dude, I have so much to go off of now. Yeah. When I first started it though, it was just literally, it's the same thing I've recognized. Your point is like, don't put a timeline on when you expect a result. Mm-hmm. Mine is show up with no expectations.
Boom.
When I put expectations on it, it's a timeline. Mm-hmm. It's this needs to happen when. When I show up to an event, when I decide for 3 months, I'm just going to not distract myself. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I bet what's on the other end of that's going to be pretty cool. It's free form. It allows me to go in the moment and pivot and change things if I need to, but it also sets an intention. And then on the other side of that, on this example, has been truly life-changing. Yeah, in a really exciting way. I can honestly say like I am 100% not the same person, and I will not go down the same path that I would have gone down without taking this time. Yeah. If I had like kept putting like a little toe in here and there, there's no way I'd be this version of me. And that reality may never, the desired reality may never actually manifest because I half-assed it instead of whole-assed it. So that's been eye-opening. Believe in myself of like, look what I can do in a couple months. What's 5 years from now going to look like? The problems I have today that are stressing me out don't even matter at all well before 5 years from now. So like, is this worth actually putting time and energy into? I think not. That was an easy answer. Then why am I even worrying about it today? Boom, that's gone. It can be that easy once your mindset and you start having that direction, that drive. You can see the path. So it's super powerful. And I wish more people could get to that point. Especially, not everyone's meant to be an entrepreneur. Not everyone's meant to make a big impact in the world. Some people are just supposed to be here.
Sorry, everyone who's just supposed to be here.
It's your decision, but I don't want people to feel bad if they don't go achieve something. Like maybe you're not meant to. That's okay too. Mm-hmm. Everyone is different, and that's the thing. Like I think about like Rick and Morty of all people, or their analogies. Infinite universes, and you see all the different kinds of Ricks there are and stuff. Like that's, I think, what humanity is like everyone is different in some way. And if that's the case, then like some people are never going to do anything, and that's what they're meant to do in itself. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
Or be a key supporting role in a greater picture to something, or a grander scheme of things. No, I feel
that's
you.
Another part
it
of it.
It was just funny.
It's a puzzle.
It was just funny to hear that out loud. It's like, that's so true. And you may be one of those people.
God love you. That ain't me, but I can be happy for you. If you feel totally content doing the exact opposite lifestyle for me, then I'm happy for you.
Yeah, I feel you on that greater calling into stepping into the limelight, so to speak, or taking on that greater role, because you truly know deeply within you that your soul's urge is to express just that. Whatever it is that you're here to express, whatever it is you're here to bestow amongst others. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah, some people have that drive, and back to the Russell Brunson quote of like, if you have that and you don't feed into it, you're robbing the world of your gift.
And you're slowly killing your soul, Serge. I know because I'm speaking from experience. Every time I didn't move on an idea, or I kept my mouth shut, or I didn't do the thing I knew would get me to the next level, I slowly felt myself eating away at itself.
Yep.
And so I know what you're speaking to. And there's a lot that it's like willful ignorance again. It's I know what to do. However, I'm still holding myself back.
Yep.
So I mean, this conversation today, I'm glad it's all on you, bro. I'm glad it turned into something for you because I needed to hear a lot of what you've gone through in the last 2.5 months that I've been pussyfooting around for as long as I can remember. Taking the cushy job because it was secure. It was secure and it was guaranteed income. Not risking everything on myself. So I'm with you, man. Very insightful individual you are.
Yeah, thank you. I can't help but be this way.
God bless you, sir. God bless you.
I'm just trying to make it as useful to the rest of the world as it can be.
And it's stepping into your bigness that is important.
Yeah, that's been a whole journey in itself, which is, to your point, I knew I've had this calling in me the whole time. I've had this vision of like I'm meant for more the entire time. Yeah. And the longer I didn't do it, the more I was like, I guess you're not meant for it. And that's like heartbreaking to me. It's like, you are just average. Yeah. You are not special. And like, I'm at a point now where I can accept that it's okay to not be special, but I can also, in the duality of it, recognize like, but I can do more than I'm doing. Let's see what happens if I actually try. Yeah. Instead of just thinking or talking about it. And we're in the beginning stages. I feel like I've been saying that for years, but it's true.
Infancy.
Yeah, the infancy, and I am very excited. We have, as a human species, we're really good at over-guessing what we can do in a short time frame and under-guessing what we can do over a 5 or 10 year time frame. So if we, like an example, is like, in 10 years, there's no way I could have a net worth of $2 million. But 10 years is a long freaking time. And if you actually put in some effort towards, let's say it was real estate was your vehicle, and if I just buy one property and I partner up with other people and I learn from that, and then now we have more capital and other people want to invest, and then we do this again, we have this track record, it's getting easier and we can do bigger projects. Well before 10 years, it's very, very realistic that you would have the ability to meet that goal. However, today, to have a $2 million net worth is like, what? No, not me. Do you know how much work that's going to be? There's no way. And yet it's actually quite attainable. I don't like using money. That's just the first one that came to my mind as an example, but it's that sort of mentality across a lot of things. I can't lose 100 pounds by the end of this year. It's doable. Yeah. How much do you want it? Because there's plenty of track records of other people doing it well before a year. So it's almost like a limiting belief that I'm just pointing out we bias for anyone listening. We bias to under guessing how far we can go long term. And then in the short term, you're like, in a month from now, I'm going to have all this done. And we overload ourselves and then we feel defeated in the short term. But then if we were to stick with it long term, this is where the power of consistency is. You would get a year in and be like, whoa, I did done way more than I thought I would. So know that about yourself, because having this knowledge is power. Having it on your side, you can reframe things, because it's not like I don't have days where I don't want to do it. I'm not just Iron Man and Superman. Like there's times where I'm like, I'm really tired, or I'd rather go do this other thing. It's still just like, Goggins doesn't want to put his shoes on and run. We all have that, no matter what it is that you want to work on. And if you dollar cost average, which basically just means over the long term, you have really good days, you have some terrible days, you have some days that you go backwards, and you have other days where you just kind of barely move the ball forward. But overall, if you're going in the right trajectory, that consistency of making movement forward will get you so much further than like burning 100%. I have to do everything, and then you burn out, and then you did less over a year than if you had just like, today this is all I can do, and that's all right. I missed what I was supposed to do today, but tomorrow I'm going to get to it. That's all it really is.
Yeah, I like the dollar cost averaging
Yeah.
association to what you just said.
Right. So if you
That
don't know,
makes sense.
yeah, I think so. If you don't know what dollar cost averaging is, it's in investing. Stocks go up and down. If you just continue to put money in, no matter what the stock is at, the dollar rate of what that stock is cost averaged out is probably favorable, instead of like waiting for what a lot of people like day traders try to do is like, oh, I'm going to get it at the lowest point today and then sell it at the highest point tomorrow, and they're not dollar cost averaging. They're more just trying to game the market, which is inherently a lot more risky. If you go dollar cost averaging of saying it is what it is and I'm just buying more because long term it's going to go up is my belief. And if it is, then I win. And generally, if you look at the stock market, it's 7% or whatever is the average. So if you bought it 20 years ago, today it's worth a heck of a lot more. And if you had said 20 years ago, it's too high for today, I don't want to buy it, and then you missed out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
That's what dollar cost averaging is. It's probably a good place to stop.
Yeah. No, you feel expressed, you feel fulfilled.
I had no goal for this at all. This was all free form, which was awesome.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot that I can take out of this, and for you too, that I'll.
What came to me is that I didn't intentionally flip it, like start asking you questions. It was more of, I felt this pull after I asked you the first question. I'm like, oh no, this is about him today.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Just from everything that we went over, the energy was just like flowing to you. Like at least in my perspective, and I'm like, I don't really want to talk about my shit right now because what I truly want to express is way greater than just vaginal maneuvers. I know that's the concept of the video we want to film, which is perfectly fine.
Okay.
However, something within me knew you needed to speak because a lot of what you said like hit home for me. That I'm really going to take it. I'm going to apply.
I'm so glad to hear that, actually.
Yeah.
Because you're probably not the only one.
Exactly, 100%. And like I said, it's like not that your story from where you were to where you're going isn't value. The immense value that I see because of where I'm at in life is actually seeing it in real time happen.
Oh, okay.
So seeing where you're at, like you just starting and actually applying everything in such a short amount of time, developing into this individual, it's fucking beautiful to see. It's like, oh shit, I'm seeing this in real time.
Yeah.
And what did we meet for the first time, like a couple weeks ago?
A couple months.
Couple months.
Yeah.
Well, no, I met you a couple months ago, but we met for the first time, like actually talking and having an exchange.
Oh yeah. The first time I recorded a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
2, maybe 3.
Yeah, no, man, and I think it's surrounding. It's like, oh, these are the type of people I want to be around. Like, and you talking about you, and it's because like I have so much love for the people around me, however they're at where they're at, and like we talked about, it's like if you're not coming with me, then I can't really hold on anymore.
Yeah, no, it's a tough realization to come to, and I don't think it gets easier. Even knowing the pattern is coming, what I've learned is to expect it, which is kind of, it's good and bad. So it sucks because I want to pour into people, and I have hope that the friends I make at any time are going to be there for a long term. But then recognizing the pattern and seeing that's not always the case gives me the ability to truly live in this moment, which is rare. So many times in the past, we're thinking about things that happened, or we're like, this will be great when. And once I get this, then. And I'm so excited for when this happens. And then when that thing happens, in the moment, now you're like, the next thing. Once we get that, it's going to be great. So to actually, what I finally recognize, to live in the moment, for me, means recognizing I am only going to be this version of myself this moment. So that's beautiful in itself, and I appreciate that. So I can show up and make the best of this moment. Whatever happens after this, whatever happened before this, really doesn't matter. All that matters is right now I am this person and this person's in front of me, what I want to do with this moment. Whatever happens after that, as long as I stay in the frame of I am doing the best that I think I can do, I am accepting. Boom, simplified. That's how to live life.
That's awesome. Yep. Live in moment to moment, being as present as possible.
Which is really tricky for people, especially if you live in your head. Right? A lot of times we're missing the moment because of the what if this happens and then that could happen and then, oh my God, they're going to think this, and you're not here, you're elsewhere. Or I'm not good enough to get even in that room because I haven't done this yet. And so once I do that, then I can do. And so you've missed out on the opportunity. The door is open. They're like, hey, you want to come in? You're like, I'm not going to fit in.
I'm not there yet. Don't worry. I'm working on it. I'm not there yet. I'm not deserving enough to step into that room.
It's a self-worth problem.
100%.
Back to self-love, self-worth, self-confidence.
And even the anxiety, this what people experience, that's nervous system regulation,
Yeah.
dysregulation.
Yeah, that.
So just knowing, yeah. Go on.
Yeah, the example of the
Yeah.
the fork in the road, right? That was a decision anxiety that showed up that now is a growth opportunity.
Yeah. And it's wild because you said the last time we sat on this couch and had a conversation, majority of people are unaware of any of this. It's like what we know, the knowledge that we have, there's so many people out there that have no idea of that this path exists or these paths exist. And I think that's a huge finger being pointed to why it's so important for you to step into what you're stepping to and me to fully step into what I'm stepping to, because there are so many people out there that, need what we have to offer.
They haven't had the opportunity that we have.
Boom.
So we give them that opportunity by doing the hard work that is locking ourselves in to learn these skills, to build out these offers, to put it back out in the world and take the risk of putting money into it and saying, this may or may not work, I don't know, but I think this is what I'm supposed to do for the good of these other people. And because of that, the world is a better place.
World's a better place because of that. Boom, mic drop. That was great.
I think, yeah, every now and then I'm able to pull out like some deep shit.
But it's speaking from an authentic place that is sourced within yourself. And that's where the depth comes from.
I think I have an ability to simplify broad concepts and make them very simple. It takes me sometimes a while to get there, but eventually I can take it. Like someone will explain, so many times this happens where someone's like, tell me a whole story of, what happened. And I can summarize, like it's me mirroring it back to them, but in like a one short sentence. I'm like, okay, so then because of this, you feel this way. Or, an example along those lines. And they're just like, yeah, that's it. I'm like, okay, cool. So I heard everything you did and I compacted it down to this is all you had to tell me.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not saying you said it wrong or that I don't appreciate you telling that whole story. For me, it's just cool to see that like I think differently, I think is what it really it shows.
I think you pierce through what is being said because it's just that it's a story being told, and you've done it with me before, so that's how I know.
Okay.
And it's because we create this elaborate story around what's your ability to identify what it actually is you can see past the entire story, and just in a couple of words, you take notice in what it actually is, and then you just pocket it, I bet. And then let them finish explaining. You're like, this is actually what it is.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, that's what it is, because they don't have the awareness, because the story is greater than the actual
Problem.
Yeah.
Right. And we are so good at the identity of that story.
Yeah, it's who I am. This is this story. What am I going to do without this story?
I've always done it this way.
Yeah.
This is, you had to know this about me and this history and this happened.
Yeah, it's just who I am. This is just how I am.
Yep. It's because you choose to be that way.
100%.
This is once you, what happens a lot of times, we've all been told like cliche things along the lines of, you choose to be that version of yourself or whatever. And it's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But then once you actually really start to look into it and you do make some changes intentionally, and because you're intentionally making the change, you show up differently and you go, fuck me, they were right all along. It is because I chose to be that way.
Yeah. It's, we know because we've been through it. You're telling somebody that, and I tell my brother that all the time. I'm like, no, you're choosing it. But he has no concept as to what I mean by you're choosing that, because he can't see the fallacies in which he's choosing.
Yeah, ignorance is bliss. And not everyone has the skill or ability to see it, or they are too happy to be, a willing or unwilling.
Willful ignorance?
Willful ignorance, that's it. Yeah. Sometimes we're like, there's something internally that's kind of pulling at a thread, and we're like, I don't want to unravel that. So I'll willfully be avoiding it.
Another thing is that people have a craving towards those fallacies. They crave the feeling that they so despise.
Yeah. That's toxicity.
Yeah, but I crave, I don't know it, but I love feeling miserable. Like I constantly choose misery because it's a comforting feeling that I have.
Yep.
And that's sad in of itself that people can't even see past that.
100%. And that shows up in relationships. I keep picking guys who treat me like shit, who cheat on me, because it's what I'm used to, and I learned it in childhood.
Yep.
I modeled my parents, or I was treated that way early on, and so this is all I know. However far back deep we need to go, and that's all too often how things get to that point. And then back, like we said earlier, we're resistant to change because I know what happens if things don't change. Yeah. We're afraid of the uncertainty and don't want to take the risk of things potentially could be better. And so for so many years, we'll accept what we shouldn't.
Yeah. And I think Eckhart Tolle says this more eloquently. I believe it's Eckhart Tolle. It's when we get into a relationship with somebody and we haven't done any work, it's actually the pain body that's actually attracting the pain body. So we find somebody who has like traumas, and then we become attached to that person because they really understand our traumas. And then that's what the relationship is predicated on. It's my pain is your pain, therefore you're comfortable and I feel safe and seen by you.
100%, I've been there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. My relationship was we were so fortunate we found each other. The first 5 years probably, we were in a cycle of anxious avoidant. I didn't see the cycle. She started to point it out. And God love her, she actually was like, how do we fix this? Because I'm seeing we're having the same argument over and over again. And I didn't see it that way. And she does the research, she finds out there's a name, anxious avoidant. We do research on it. We're like, that's us. We identify with it. And then once we were no longer ignorant to it, we're like, well, what's the alternative? I think they call it like healthy attachment style. She's anxious, I'm the avoidant. We learned it from our own parents. It's now we model after that. It showed up here. The relationships worked because you're anxious and want to be anxious when I'm avoidant. And I'm avoidant because you're pressuring me and giving me too much that I need to pull away. And so these two people constantly attract. These two people do not work with healthy individuals. Because a healthy person who can communicate and emotionally regulate will see that or feel that and call it out and say, hey, when I come to you with something, you keep running off to the garage. We're not solving it. That's kind of avoiding it. Can we have this conversation? And once you find them multiple times, they're not able to do that. You go, okay, well, this relationship doesn't work. I'll go find someone else. And so that's where it's a shame where you don't get out of it because the people that you need, it's not their own fault. I mean, they've done the work. Why do they have to fix you? They, a lot of times, are like, this isn't a match. I'm moving on. And so we luckily found each other. We're no longer ignorant that she was anxious, I was the avoidant. Learned all about it, read the books, watched the videos, started going to couples counseling, brought that to her. She agreed, started giving us the tools. So then we actually started growing together. And though the relationship didn't survive, we at least came out of it and recognized we could be now healthy in our next relationship. Because we had identified it, which is, denial is the first step. So then we both were like, nope, this is it. Yep, thank God you found this, because we do keep having the same argument. Let's try to fix this. This is how we fix this. We're doing the work to fix it. I'm sorry this relationship is kind of broken at its core. We need to end this one. But since then, we haven't made the same dynamic in our next relationships. She's very secure, as a secure individual, that's what it's called. She's very secure now, as am I. So I don't need to chase you, and you don't need to chase me. I'm secure in who I am, and I am happy to show up in this relationship and give as much love as I can, but if it's not reciprocated, I'm going to call it out and use my communication skills instead of just becoming a hothead and fleeing the situation or pointing the blame and running away, or making you feel terrible. So all that to say, thankfully I had an opportunity to grow once again. It was a growth opportunity. If I hadn't had her, I'd still be a totally lower operating version of myself. The world would completely miss out on anything I bring to it now as this new version of myself. So I am so thankful for that. We needed each other, and it's another thing like your friends group, the lonely chapter analogy, right? At the time, we worked so well. We were really good friends, the relationship was great, and then it kind of wasn't, and then we needed each other to get past this deep-seated insecurities. We did. The relationship still wasn't, at that point we recognized, like, you're not my person. Okay, this needs to end. But things in the future will be very different. And if we didn't have each other, to be able to grow and then recognize, actually, we're growing apart now, lonely chapter, then we'd still, I mean, I was married to her. You know, like life was kind of going a different path if we didn't make the tough choice of saying, actually, fuck no, I don't want to live my life like this. I thought I did, but I think that I've gotten to this point where this is clearly not what I meant for. And that's a very hard decision that a lot of people will not make.
Yeah.
I see it in family members, I see it in friends, I see it in strangers, where it's like, on the outside I can look at it and be like, I've been there.
Yeah.
So I know it more than you do because I have been there and have figured it out.
Dealt with it.
And you are not ready to hear what I'm willing to tell you.
Yeah.
You just genuinely aren't.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
It's complicated, but it's fulfilling. If I hadn't done that work and put myself out there and gotten uncomfortable, I wouldn't be this version of myself, and my life would not be nearly as good as it is. And I feel, once again, like I'm just getting started. So I'm excited for what the world has for me, and the next relationship I have will be so, excuse me, the next relationship I have will be so meaningful and deep-seated, and I'll have this certainty because I've gone through the opposite.
Yep.
At least that's what I think. We'll see when the time comes.
Yeah. That's usually the outcome when you do the work. You elevate, you grow, you become this version of yourself, or on the path of becoming this version, and you start attracting the version of yourself in female form who is conducive to your growth.
Yep.
And it's what there's a running joke in Bronx. All my friend groups. I have 2 friend groups. All my friend groups. The fuck am I? I have 2 friend groups, and I haven't been in a relationship in 3 years, and I've been celibate for 2.5.
Wow.
And the running joke that Ant's a closet gay, and I just sit and I smirk. I'm like, you just don't understand. You don't understand the patterns I see within your choices and why you're constantly moving from woman to woman, and what I've learned by losing the one person that I reflected really hard on, that had a semblance of how to navigate life. I just didn't know how to meet her in it.
Yeah.
So I now look at everyone. I'm like, I can, like you see the pattern, but you're not ready. They're not ready to hear it. And I know if I say something if I speak to it, I'm gonna be met with adversity. So I'd rather keep my mouth shut until they come to me. Right?
Yeah.
So I feel you. And another thing I realized is I'm not the version of myself to attract the woman I desire.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, continue to grow, continue to do the things, put myself in uncomfortable situations, grow exponentially, and along the way, that right woman, it'll be a no-brainer that this person in front of me is somebody I want to pursue. Yeah. So I feel you, man.
Yeah, can I challenge that real quick?
Yeah, please.
I hear you, and I totally understand where you're at because I can very much identify with that.
Yeah.
What if the version of the girl you want isn't there yet, isn't in her own journey as well, and part of how you get to that relationship is the two of you doing it together?
Well, that's what I'm speaking to that.
Okay.
The way I might have phrased it is like, I need to be
I thought you were going to do all the work on your own and then be like, I'm ready, and then find her.
No, because there is no ready. There's no.
Right.
I don't believe that there would be a ready time.
No.
I gaslit myself. I think the first year of me going through this. I just need to become this person. And I'll attract the right person. I did frame that. Now that I'm speaking it again, I did say it in that light. But to what you just said, it's on the when you have the vision of this person and you are acting on the steps necessary to become that person, the right person will meet you on that journey.
Yeah. I think that's. We call it manifestation, but what I think it really is the frequencies kind of sync up, you could say, where we all admit we're all electric beings. So your vibration, whatever, is putting out this level of awareness or level that you're at, and we'll get picked up on. Like we have little receivers somewhere in us that pick up on like, oh, this is a good match, or this is a bad match. So you can't fake that. Some people are really good, con men or whatever, but for the most part, eventually it comes out, and it's a tough search. I mean, I've been out there and not celibate and haven't been finding somebody that's like, this is my person. Because it's like, you want to grow so much and you want to be the best version of yourself, but only so many people do, and only so many people will get to the level that you get to. So then as you go higher up the ladder, your talent pool, let's call it, dwindles. And so what your real match is like the availability, or like how many options that match that. If you think there's more than just one soulmate, is dwindling. And now you're more selective, and you're like, oh, this one's so close, but she does this thing, and so I can see that's going to be a real flaw that doesn't match with me. So then, in my perspective, that's currently where I'm struggling. Not to say that I'm like all the perfect man, but I know I bring a lot to the table, and I expect my partner to be the same. And so as I know I continue to grow and become a better version of myself, that will show up in a relationship as well. And I don't expect her to be totally perfect, because I know I'm not, but I also do expect at this point what I'm looking for, it's tough for, because I prefer her to be younger than me. So she has to have figured it out before I did.
Expectations, stipulations.
Yeah, no, this is what I do, is I set up very stringent, high standards that are very hard to meet. And then when I meet them, I'm not impressed. And that's welcome to David. Because I'm like, well, yeah, you did it. You've been able to do this the whole time, right? Yeah, of course you did the thing. Even though it's like, this was actually really impressive, and most people couldn't do that thing. I was like, yeah, it's all right. And so
I'm never satisfied.
It's something I've struggled with my entire life. Yeah. So it's something I'm recognizing now. And I don't have that like doom and gloom mindset with it. I still think that I will find my person. I think that she's out there doing her own story and journey right now. And when the time is right, we'll meet each other. I stay kind of open to that option. But I also refuse to settle into another option. If it doesn't feel quite right, and my history has been to settle into every single relationship, I no longer want that to be my pattern. I'm like, yeah, she's out there. And if I just continue to do what I'm supposed to do, trust in the higher power, she'll be brought to me when the time's right. So, rightly or wrongly, that's how I'm operating.
Beautiful, man. Yeah.
Yeah. In the meantime, I just have fun.
Have fun, and that's something I need to start doing for myself. I just haven't had fun in a long time because I'm polarizing, and it's just like I mean, at this point, like, you know, I was like, oh, you know, I made DMT a long time ago, and not a long time ago, probably like a year or two ago, and I gave it to my brother because I'm like, I'm done with all this shit. And the last night I was at his house, and I was like, still got the DMT? He's like, yeah, I actually do. I'm like, I might want some. And I didn't end up doing it, but what I realized in the moment is like, oh, I can do this and not have that addictive personality come out and not be, and do it in moderation. Mm-hmm. And I started thinking, like, what if I could go out and have fun and do things in moderation? You know, so it's actually trusting myself to have that level of discernment and, you know, be able to have fun and not to overdo it. So, yeah, I can learn a lot from your 1 month escapade that you're about to take and actually start doing fun things for myself.
Self-control, self-awareness, self-check. Yeah. Because you don't have the reps to prove it yet. You don't have the track record. Mm-hmm. You're starting to see the ability in yourself, but we're not perfect the first time. So that's all I would say with that. But yeah, if you think you're at a point where you can.
It's been a year and a half since I did anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's powerful.
Yeah.
You should be proud of that. That's big.
Yeah.
That doesn't prove that you can get back into it, though.
100%.
Right. So just be aware of that. Yeah. I'm not saying you can't, but I don't want to see you be like, I'm good, and then, you know, give into old ways.
Yeah.
So the difference this time is kind of just what I'm saying, of how to handle it. And self-check is a big one. I have to self-check oftentimes where I'm like, is this really what I need to be doing, or am I unhealthy with this? And it's a rep. Once again, once you prove to yourself you've got it, then it's like it's another tool in your toolbox.
Yeah.
Where I've gotten to the point, thankfully, like I don't struggle with that. It seems like my whole life I've had that ability to self-check or be very self-aware. So when I started seeing, like when I was smoking weed all the time, I was like, this is a problem, and was able to almost cold turkey stop, and that's I've been able to do that, fortunately, with all sorts of substances and activities. So the way I'm doing it is what I'm telling you. Essentially, is the self-check and self-awareness and like really being honest with myself. It's like, is this a problem or is this getting out of control?
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, I'm pretty healthy, or I'm pretty like not healthy, but I'm pretty like heavy into whatever it is I'm doing right now. But I'm also kind of generally framing it as like, maybe this is just a season right now, and then when I need to, I can drop this. So already having the door open of like, this is just for now is helpful, because then it's like, this isn't me forever. Because then that becomes, or this isn't okay forever. I know this needs to end. And already just pre-framing it of like, this is just a season or a temporary thing, or just because this event's happening, helps me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, last time I smoked weed, it was like, oh, it's just for tonight.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll do it tomorrow night because it's just that night. Third day, I'm like, yeah, one more night.
Yep. That's how it starts.
Next thing I know, I'm smoking all of it, and I'm like a weekend, and then I start smoking, like, oh, I can smoke during the day. I'm like, what? And I get lost in that.
Yeah.
I was like probably 6-8 months ago. And what I realized, like, no, I function better when I'm sober because I have an addictive personality that I don't have a full grasp on. I know it's not for me, right?
Yep.
I'm just like cutting access to it. But yeah, I think trusting myself. I need to trust myself to be able to do these things again and be inquisitive and question myself when things arise. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And some people, I think, just recognize like they can't have that option. You know, they, despite doing the 12-step program or, you know, sobriety for multiple years, they just recognize like if I get back into it, I don't have the control. And sometimes that's just the reality. And that's you know, okay in itself. At least you have it in what works for you. You know, if that's a possibility. So I don't want you to. I just want to put that out there so you don't feel like you have to figure this out. You know what I mean? It's up to you if you want it or not. But for some people, you know, sometimes it's just nice to hear like some people are like me, is all, and whatever that means is that can be anything. You know, just to recognize you're not alone is basically what I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
So everyone's different, right? Yeah. So it's okay, just accept it.
Yeah.
If that's what it is. I'm not saying that's what it is.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's a little bit of nostalgia. Like, oh yeah, no, taking MDMA is pretty fun. And
Oh,
I'd
fuck
love
yeah,
to do
it is.
that again. I would love to do that
It's
again.
probably the best thing ever.
I'm like, I just haven't done that in years, and you know, every time you do it, you want to do more.
Yep.
You know, you just want to keep doing it to
Yep.
your detriment.
Yep.
Man, I have a crazy story about that, but that's for the Nonsensical Ramblings podcast.
Yeah, I've got a story or two as well. But,
man.
you know, we grow from every experience, I think, if you want to.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I think we should probably call it.
Yeah, I'm good. Once again,
Yeah, I think we did another 2.5 hour or more.
Yeah, probably.
But it was a great conversation.
No, for sure. Yeah.
I think I'm
Glad
definitely
it
going to throw this
flowed
through
the way
my AI, and I'll probably get a lot of stuff to throw into the Unlocked Man, honestly, from even just you giving me